The sages of the desert whispered a truth into the winds, a truth carried on grains of sand and etched into the silent stones of time. They said that the universe you experience is but a mirror of the universe within you. The turmoil and the peace, the shadow and the light, the echoing emptiness and the profound connection, all are born from the sacred soil of your own consciousness. You have felt this truth in the quietest moments, in that fleeting instant between sleep and waking, or when gazing into a star-filled sky, feeling both infinitesimally small and limitlessly vast. You have come here not by accident. You have come here because a part of you seeks to read a secret scroll, not a scroll of papyrus hidden in a clay jar, but a scroll that is written into the very fiber of your being. Its language is not of words, but of feeling. Its ink is not of pigment, but of energy. For too long, the noise of the world has drowned out its message. The relentless demands for your attention, the tyranny of the urgent, the constant pressure to be more, to do more, have left you feeling disconnected, a stranger in your own life, listening to every voice except the one that matters most. This space, right here, right now, is a sanctuary. It is an invitation to step out of the storm and into the eye of the hurricane, where there is only stillness. Together, we will unroll this inner scroll, not with our hands, but with our attention. We will not be learning something new, but remembering something ancient. We will remember how to decipher the glyphs of our emotions, how to trace the currents of our own energy, and how to walk the sacred path of healing that leads not outward into the world, but inward into the soul. The journey begins with the first act of courage, the willingness to be silent and to listen to the echo in the void. So we begin. We begin with the feeling that drove you to seek this silence, a feeling so pervasive yet so difficult to name. It is the echo in the void, a quiet hum of absence that underlies the busiest of days, a sense of running but never arriving. It is the feeling of standing in a crowded room and feeling utterly alone. It is the hollowness that no achievement, no purchase, no praise can seem to fill for more than a fleeting moment. You know this feeling intimately. It is a room in your soul that stands empty, a guest that never arrives, a song whose melody you have forgotten. Society has taught you to fear this space. It has taught you that this emptiness is a sign of failure, a pathology to be cured. It has sold you a million remedies, 1,000 distractions to fill this sacred void. And so you have tried. You have filled it with noise, with endless scrolling, with work that drains your life force, with relationships that are built on the shared fear of being alone rather than the shared joy of being together. You have tried to pave over this holy ground with ambition and concrete goals, hoping that if you build enough on top of it, you will forget the resonant emptiness beneath. But it never works. The void is patient. It is more fundamental than any structure you can build upon it. The noise fades, the distraction ends, the other person leaves the room, and there it is again, waiting. Not with malice, but with a profound, unwavering presence. The echo returns, quieter this time, perhaps, but more insistent, and you are left with the chilling suspicion that you are not running towards something, but running away from this very stillness. You have been told that this feeling is loneliness, but that is a misunderstanding. Loneliness is the pain of separation. This void, this echo, is something else entirely. It is the beginning of communion. It is the call of your own vastness. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a great desert at dusk. The last of the sun's warmth bleeds from the sky, and a profound silence begins to descend. At first, it is unsettling. Your mind, accustomed to constant stimulation, screams for a landmark, a sound, a sign of life. The sheer scale of the emptiness is terrifying. It feels like a threat, a negation of your very existence. This is the first stage of encountering the void. The instinct is to turn back, to run to the firelight and the familiar voices of the village, to escape the crushing weight of the silence. But what if you were to stay? What if, for one moment, you resisted the urge to flee? You sit upon the cooling sand. You allow the darkness to envelop you, not as an enemy, but as a blanket. You allow the silence to enter you, not as an absence of sound, but as the presence of everything. And then, something magical begins to happen. Your senses, no longer overwhelmed by coarse distractions, begin to awaken. You start to hear the subtle symphony of the desert, the whisper of the wind as it sculptures the dunes, the faint skittering of a creature you cannot see. And beneath it all, you begin to feel a low, powerful vibration, a thrumming. It is the rhythm of the planet itself. Then you look up, and you see the stars. Away from the artificial lights of the city, the sky is not a black ceiling with a few pinpricks of light. It is a luminous, breathing tapestry of impossible depth and beauty. Galaxies swirl in clouds of diamond dust. The cosmos reveals its true majesty. You realize the desert was never empty. It was simply clear. It was a space so pure that the true nature of reality could finally be perceived. This desert is the void within you. Your inner world has become so cluttered with the smog of worry, the noise of opinion, the artificial lights of ego, that you have forgotten the stars that blaze within your own soul. The feeling of emptiness is a gift. It is the universe's way of helping you clear the land. It is a controlled burn, consuming the dead wood of your past pains and future anxieties, so that something new and true can grow. The void is not a lack, it is a clearing. It is a space that has been made holy by the removal of the profane. It is the sacred pause between notes that gives music its beauty. It is the stillness of the water that allows the reflection to become clear. And in this stillness, you finally hear the echo. What is this echo? It is the sound of your own soul calling you home. All your life, your authentic self has been whispering to you, but its voice was drowned out by the cacophony of your mind and the world. The emptiness you feel is the result of its voice no longer being heard. It is a form of spiritual deafness. But now, in the silent desert of the soul, its call becomes an echo that you cannot ignore. The feeling you mistook for loneliness is actually a homing signal. It is the part of you that remembers its connection to the source of all things, the part of you that is timeless and whole. It is calling out, and because the space around it is finally clear, you are beginning to hear the resonance. Do not be afraid of this feeling any longer. Do not rush to fill it. Turn toward it. Welcome it as you would an honored guest. Sit with it as you would a wise teacher. When the wave of emptiness washes over you, close your eyes and breathe into it. Do not analyze it. Do not judge it. Simply allow it to be. Feel its texture, its temperature, its vibration. In doing so, you are changing your relationship to it. You are transforming it from a source of dread into a portal of discovery. You are learning that the void is not empty space. It is spacing. It is the space required for grace to enter. It is the womb from which your true self can be reborn. This is the first secret of the scroll, the first step on the path of healing. To understand that the void is not a problem to be solved, but a sanctuary to be entered. It is the antechamber to the temple of your own being. By sitting in this quiet chamber, by allowing the echo to reverberate, you give it permission to grow clearer and stronger. You are learning to listen with the ear of the heart. You are beginning a dialogue that will change the entire landscape of your reality. For now, it is enough to simply sit, to be with the echo, to let the silence do its work. But as you sit in this newfound stillness, a question may naturally begin to surface in the quiet. A question that arises not from fear, but from a gentle curiosity. What was all that noise about? What was the clutter that filled this space for so long? What are these heavy stones I have been carrying that made me so desperate to avoid this peaceful silence? This gentle inquiry leads us to the next chamber of the soul, to the place where we must examine the weight of yesterday. Having found the courage to sit within the sacred clearing of the void, you ask the natural question, what was the noise that I was so afraid to silence? What was the clutter that filled this space? The answer is simple in its telling, yet profound in its implication. The noise was the story of your life. The clutter was the weight of yesterday. You carry it with you always. It is a heavy cloak, woven from threads of regret and sorrow, stitched together with words like if only and what if. It is an invisible anchor that you drag behind you, carving a deep furrow in the landscape of your present moment. Its weight is composed of every harsh word you received, every disappointment you endured, every failure you internalized, every love you lost. It is made of the face of someone who hurt you, a face that appears unbidden in your mind's eye. It is made of the shame of a mistake you believe you can never undo. These are not just memories. You have allowed them to become monuments, and you have built your identity in their shadows. The mind is a master storyteller. Its primary function is to create a coherent narrative from the chaotic data of experience. It takes a moment of pain from a decade ago, a critical comment from your childhood, a recent rejection, and it weaves them into a story titled, I am not worthy, or I am destined to be alone, or I will always fail. This story, replayed countless times, becomes a hypnotic trance. You forget that it is a story. You believe it is you. You look at your reflection in the mirror, and you do not see the infinite consciousness looking back. You see the main character of a tragic tale. The weight of yesterday is not the events themselves. The events are gone. They have no substance. They exist nowhere in the universe except as a patterned energy in your mind. The weight is the relentless, compulsive retelling of the story. You are the ghostwriter and the haunted house, all in one. You are being held captive by a narrative you yourself are writing in every moment. Imagine a pilgrim setting out on a sacred journey to a distant mountain. They start with a light step and a heart full of hope. Early on the path, they trip on a sharp rock, cutting their foot. The pain is intense. To remind themselves to be more careful, they pick up the rock and place it in their knapsack. A little further on, another traveler insults them, and the pilgrim's heart is stung with shame. They find a stone that feels as heavy and ugly as that shame, and they place it in the bag as well. A storm comes, and they lose their way, feeling abandoned and afraid. They find a cold, jagged stone representing that fear, and add it to the growing collection. This continues for years. Every hurt, every loss, every regret becomes another stone in the bag. Now, see this pilgrim decades later. They are no longer walking upright. They are bent low, their face to the ground, their muscles straining under the immense weight of the knapsack. Their gaze is fixed only on the path immediately before them, to avoid another stumble. They have long forgotten the sacred mountain they set out to find. The journey is no longer about reaching a destination of peace or enlightenment. The journey is now entirely about managing the stones. Their identity has become fused with their burden. They are no longer a pilgrim, they are a carrier of stones. At times, they may even feel a strange, bitter pride in the weight. It is proof of how much they have endured. It is their story. This is the trance of humanity. We are all this pilgrim. We believe we must carry our stones. We believe that our wounds define us. We believe that to put down the bag would be to dishonor our past, to pretend the suffering never happened. But one day, the pilgrim, in a moment of utter exhaustion, collapses. They can go no further. The bag falls from their shoulders and the stones spill out onto the ground. And for the first time in years, they stand up straight. They feel the sun on their face. They take a deep breath, unconstrained by the weight on their back. They look at the pile of stones, and a profound realization dawns in their soul. A truth so simple, it is revolutionary. The path hurt me, but I am the one who chose to carry the rocks. The suffering happened, but the choice to perpetuate it is mine in this very moment. To put down the stones is not to deny the journey. It is to finally honor its purpose, which was never to accumulate weight, but to find the strength to release it. This is the power that is available to you right now. The events of your past are real. The pain was real. But the identity built upon that pain is an illusion. You are not your story. You are the silent, aware space in which the story is told. To release the weight of yesterday does not require a fight. To fight with a memory, to try and force it away, only gives it more energy. You cannot win a wrestling match with a ghost. The release is far more gentle, far more profound. It is the practice of conscious withdrawal. When a memory of past hurt arises in your mind, see it for what it is: a thought form, a ghost, an echo. Do not engage with it. Do not analyze it, justify it, or condemn it. Simply notice it. You can say internally, the storyteller is telling the story of the time I was rejected. See it as a cloud passing through the vast sky of your awareness. You are not the cloud. You are the sky. You are the boundless space that allows the cloud to come and to go. By refusing to fuel the story with your attention, you are cutting off its life source. You are letting the ghosts starve for lack of belief. You are taking the stones out of your bag, one by one, looking at them with compassionate understanding, and then gently placing them on the ground, choosing not to carry them one step further. You are not erasing your history. You are liberating your present from it. You are declaring that who you were 5 years ago or 5 minutes ago does not have the power to define who you are in this sacred, living now. Each time you choose not to identify with a painful thought from the past, you reclaim a piece of your own life force. The enormous energy that was once consumed by the labor of carrying your burdens becomes available to you. It is a wellspring of vitality, creativity, and peace that was always there, just buried beneath the weight of your stones. Feel the lightness in your shoulders. Feel the freedom in your posture as you stand tall, unburdened. Your hands, once clenched around the straps of your heavy bag, are now open. This is the prerequisite for all true creation. You cannot receive the gifts of the present moment if your hands are full of the debris of the past. By setting down the weight of yesterday, you become available to life as it is. But the mind is a creature of habit. The old path of carrying the stones is well worn. The storyteller will try to lure you back into the old narrative. To stay in this new state of lightness requires an anchor, a constant touchstone that brings you back, again and again, to the freedom of the now. We need a tool that can instantly dissolve the ghosts of yesterday and ground us in the living reality of the present. This tool is the simplest, most powerful, and most overlooked gift you possess. It is the bridge between the body and the spirit, the rhythm of life itself. We must now become the alchemist of our own breath. You have laid down the heavy stones of yesterday. You are standing taller, feeling the first warm rays of a new freedom. But you notice how easily the hand reaches back for the familiar weight. The mind, a creature of deep habit, tries to pull you back into the well-worn grooves of old stories. The ghosts of the past are persistent. To remain in this liberated present, you need more than a decision. You need an anchor. You need a practice that is as constant as the pull of the past, a force that grounds you in the living reality of the now. This anchor is not something you must acquire. You were born with it. It is the first and last act of your physical life. It is the alchemist of the breath. Like all profound truths, the power of the breath is hidden in plain sight. It is so fundamental, so automatic, that we live our entire lives without truly noticing it. Your breathing right now is a perfect reflection of your inner state. When you are anxious, your breath is shallow, rapid, a frantic little flutter in the chest. When you are in fear, you hold your breath, as if to make yourself invisible. Your body is trying to tell you something. The erratic rhythm of your breathing is a symptom of a mind that is lost in the labyrinth of thought, perpetually chasing phantoms of the past or dreading specters of the future. But here lies the secret. The breath is a two-way street. Just as the mind can alter the breath can alter the mind. This is where the alchemy begins. This is where you cease to be the victim of your inner state and become its conscious creator. The breath is the ultimate bridge. It is the sacred link between the seen and the unseen, the physical and the non-physical. It is the one function of the body that operates both automatically and voluntarily. You can forget about it, and it will continue. Or you can take conscious control of it. In this unique duality lies its immense power. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious body. It is the needle that can stitch together the fragmented parts of your being. When you bring your full attention to the simple physical sensation of air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body, you are performing a miracle of grounding. You are pulling your awareness out of the chaotic, abstract world of thought and anchoring it in the undeniable reality of the physical, present moment. A thought is a ghost. The feeling of the breath in your chest is real. It is happening now. And now is the only place where life exists. Let us use the ancient metaphor. Your mind is a wide, turbulent river. The waters are brown and murky, filled with the debris of old conversations, the wreckage of past failures, the swirling currents of future anxieties. Your consciousness is like a small, rudderless boat, tossed about on these waves, completely at their mercy. You feel powerless, seasick from the constant motion, unable to find a moment of peace. To fight the river is foolish, it is too powerful. To curse the river is pointless, it does not listen. The alchemical secret is to call upon the ferryman. The ferryman is your conscious breath. When you make the decision to breathe deeply and intentionally, you are stepping onto the ferryman's boat. Let us try this now. Do not force it. Simply allow the next in-breath to be a little deeper than the last. Feel the air as it passes through your nostrils, cool and clean. This is not just air. This is life force. The ancients called it prana, or chi. Imagine that with this inhalation, you are drawing in the energy of the cosmos itself. You are breathing in peace. You are breathing in clarity. You are breathing in the golden light of pure, positive potential. Feel your lungs expand, your belly soften. For this one moment, you are consciously receiving the nourishment of the universe. You are saying yes to life. Now, the exhalation. As you breathe out, make it a conscious act of release. This is not just expelling carbon dioxide. This is a letting go. Imagine the breath carrying with it the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your jaw, the knot of worry in your stomach. With each out-breath, you are gently releasing a stone from your bag. You are exhaling the residue of a fearful thought. You are cleansing your inner space, making it lighter, clearer. Breathe in nourishment, breathe out poison, breathe in peace, breathe out turmoil. This is the rhythm of the ferryman's oar, in and out. Each cycle takes you further from the chaotic banks of the river and closer to the serene shore of stillness. Notice what happens to the river of thought. It may not stop. The debris may still float by. But you are no longer drowning in it. You are gliding over its surface, safe in the ferryman's boat. You become the observer of the thoughts, not their captive. You see a worry float by, and you can look at it with a detached curiosity, rather than being swept away by it. This is the essence of alchemy. You have not destroyed the leaden river of thought, but you have used a simple, divine tool to transform your relationship to it, creating the golden experience of presence. You have turned the chaos of the mind into a meditative journey. This practice is more than a simple technique for relaxation. It is a gateway to a deeper reality. The mystics of all traditions, from the Essenes in their desert caves to the yogis in their Himalayan mountains, knew that the breath was the key to silencing the ego. The ego, the storyteller, the carrier of stones, thrives on thought. It needs a constant stream of mental chatter to sustain its illusion of being in control. When you anchor your attention firmly and repeatedly in the non-conceptual, physical reality of the breath, you are gently starving the ego of its fuel. The relentless inner monologue begins to slow down. The spaces between thoughts grow wider and last longer. And in those sacred gaps of silence, something else can finally be heard. the whisper of intuition, the quiet voice of your soul, the guidance of the universe. You cannot hear this voice when your mind is screaming. The breath is the divine tool for turning down the volume of the mind so that you can hear the symphony of the spirit. This alchemist, this ferryman, is with you always. It requires no special equipment, no designated place or time. You can call upon it in the middle of a stressful meeting. You can use it while stuck in traffic, transforming a moment of frustration into a moment of practice. You can do it when you lie down to sleep, letting the rhythmic breath guide you out of the day's anxieties and into a deep, restorative rest. This is your power, the power to return, in any given moment, to the peace of the present. As you become more adept at using this tool, you will cultivate a new baseline for your existence. A state of calm, centered awareness becomes your natural home, rather than a brief vacation. From this stable ground, from this place of inner quiet and strength, you are now equipped for a deeper, more courageous part of the journey. You have found the clearing in the void. You have set down the stones of yesterday. You have learned to command the ferryman of the breath. You have created a foundation of light and presence within yourself. Now, and only now, are you ready to use that light to explore the parts of yourself that you have hidden in darkness. You are ready to turn and face the disowned, the denied, and the feared. You are ready to do the sacred work of befriending your own shadow. From the calm shore of the present moment, anchored by the rhythm of your own breath, you have cultivated a space of inner stability. You have built a lighthouse on the coast of your being. This light of awareness and the stability of your presence now allow you to undertake the most courageous and rewarding stage of the journey, to turn away from the open sea and explore the dark, hidden caves of your own inner landscape. It is time to do the sacred work of befriending the shadow. The shadow is not a monster. It is not evil. The shadow is simply every part of yourself that you have been taught to deny in order to be loved, to be accepted, to be considered good. It is the collection of all your disowned parts. From your earliest childhood, you were taught a silent contract. To receive praise and affection, you learn to present a certain version of yourself. The good child is calm, not angry. The good child is generous, not greedy. The good child is brave, not afraid. And so, whenever a feeling like rage or jealousy or profound fear arose within you, it was met with disapproval, either from the world or from your own internalized judge. The message was clear. This part of you is unacceptable. But these parts do not simply vanish when they are condemned. They cannot be destroyed. They are fundamental aspects of the human experience. So where do they go? They go into the shadow. They are pushed down into the basement of the psyche, hidden away from the light of your conscious personality. Your shadow contains your repressed anger, your forbidden desires, your deep-seated insecurities, your vulnerability, your laziness, your wildness. You have spent a lifetime pretending these parts do not exist, and that act of pretending has consumed an immense amount of your life force. The great paradox is that the more you try to deny your shadow, the more power it has over you. A shadow that is ignored does not remain quiet in the basement. It begins to rattle the floorboards. It leaks out in ways you cannot control. It manifests as a sudden, inexplicable outburst of rage at a minor inconvenience. It appears as a self-sabotaging behavior that ruins a perfect opportunity. It drives addictions, compulsions, and moods that seem to come from nowhere. These are the cries of your abandoned inner parts, desperately seeking to be seen. More insidiously, a repressed shadow projects itself outward onto the world. You begin to see the parts you hate about yourself in other people. That arrogant colleague at work who infuriates you, he is likely embodying a confidence or ambition that you were taught to repress in yourself. That person you judge as lazy or undisciplined, they may be reflecting your own deep, unmet need for rest and non-doing. The world becomes a screen upon which your shadow projects its drama. You are not reacting to other people. You are reacting to the disowned parts of yourself that they represent. The energy you spend judging them is the energy you are refusing to use to look within. Imagine your soul as a house. You have spent years decorating the living room, the public space, making it pristine and perfect for guests. But there is one door in the house that is always locked. The door to the basement. You know something is down there. You hear strange noises from it at night. You imagine a terrible monster lives in that darkness, and you live in constant, low-grade fear of it breaking out. Your life becomes a project of reinforcing the lock, of barricading the door, of distracting yourself from the fear it generates. This is a life of immense and exhausting effort. Befriending the shadow is the act of deciding to stop reinforcing the door. It is the act of taking a deep, calming breath, your ferryman at your side, and lighting a candle with the flame of your conscious awareness. It is the courageous decision to turn the key, open the door, and walk down the stairs. As you descend, your heart pounds. You expect the worst, but as the gentle light of your candle spreads across the darkness, you do not find a monster. You find what was lost. In one corner, you see a small, crying child, the part of you that was terrified and abandoned. In another, you see a powerful warrior. Bound in chains, this is your healthy anger, your ability to set boundaries, which was repressed and turned into impotent rage. You see a sensual, creative being, starved and pale from lack of expression. These are not monsters. They are exiled aspects of your own beautiful, complex totality. Befriending them does not mean unleashing the chained warrior to wreak havoc. It means sitting with him, listening to his story, understanding his pain, and slowly, compassionately removing his chains. It means picking up the crying child, holding her, and telling her that you are here now, and you will never abandon her again. This is the work of integration. You listen to the needs behind the distorted behaviors. The need behind the rage is the need for respect and healthy boundaries. The need behind the greed is the need for a sense of security and worth. The need behind the envy is a cry from your soul to pursue your own unique calling. When you bring these needs into the light of your awareness, you can find conscious, healthy ways to meet them. You can learn to express anger as calm, firm assertiveness. You can transform envy into inspiration. You can allow your vulnerability to become a source of profound connection with others. This is the gold hidden in the darkness. The ancient alchemists knew that the most valuable treasure is found in the darkest places. Your shadow contains your power, your vitality, your authenticity, your depth. A person who denies their shadow is brittle, inauthentic, and secretly fragile. A person who has done the work of integrating their shadow is grounded, compassionate, and whole. They are not afraid of the darkness in others, because they have had the courage to face their own. The goal of this path is not to become a perfect being of pure light. That is an impossible fantasy that only creates a larger, darker shadow. The goal is to become a whole human being. It is to become a person who can hold their own anger, fear, and sadness with the same loving compassion that they hold their joy, love, and peace. It is to have the integrity to own all of who you are. This is the source of true inner peace, not the absence of darkness, but the courageous inclusion of all parts of yourself in the gentle, non-judgmental embrace of your own awareness. As you continue this sacred practice of visiting the basement of your soul, bringing your candlelight, and listening with love, you will notice a profound shift in your perception of the world. The people and situations that once triggered you will begin to lose their power. The harshness of your judgment toward others will soften into understanding. You begin to realize that when you see a fault in another, you are often just looking at a reflection of a part of your own unlit basement. The world ceases to be a battlefield of good versus evil, right versus wrong. It becomes a classroom, a hall of mirrors, where every person you meet has the potential to teach you something about yourself. They are not your adversaries. They are messengers, pointing you toward the next room in your soul that is asking for the light of your attention. They are the mirror of others. Having walked into the shadowed basement of your soul with the candle of awareness, you begin to see the world through new eyes. The firm ground you have cultivated within, through presence and breath, becomes a sanctuary from which you can observe the dance of life with a newfound clarity. It is here that you discover one of the most profound secrets of existence. The world is a mirror. Every person you meet, every interaction you have, every relationship you form is a reflection of a part of yourself. You are not living in a world of separate, random encounters. You are living in a divine feedback loop, a hall of mirrors designed for the sole purpose of your own awakening. In your former state of consciousness, you experienced the world as a battlefield or a marketplace. People were either allies or adversaries, assets or liabilities. You were drawn to those who validated your ego and repelled by those who challenged it. This is the normal human trance. It is a state of perpetual reaction, a life spent blaming, praising, judging, and desiring the other. All conflict, from a petty argument to a global war, is born from this fundamental illusion of separation, the belief that your experience is being caused by someone outside of yourself. The spiritual path demolishes this illusion. It invites you to see that the entire world is a reflection of your own inner state. The feelings that others evoke in you are not coming from them. They are being activated from within you. Consider the people who trigger you the most, the ones who can, with a single word or action, ignite a fire of anger, a wave of irritation, or a pang of insecurity within you. These people are your most important mirrors. They are not your enemies. They are your most potent spiritual teachers, though neither of you may know it. They are reflecting back to you an unhealed, disowned part of your own shadow. The emotional charge you feel is the key. That jolt of energy is the resonance of a buried part of you meeting its reflection. When you judge someone as arrogant, it is often because they are mirroring a healthy ambition within you that you were taught to suppress. When you are infuriated by someone you see as weak or needy, it is often because they are reflecting a vulnerability in you that you have refused to acknowledge, a part of you that is desperate for care. The intensity of your reaction is a direct measure of the intensity of your own inner repression. Conversely, think of the people you deeply admire, those you are drawn to for their courage, their compassion, their creativity, or their wisdom. These people are also your mirrors. They are not showing you something you lack. They are reflecting your own highest potential, the golden parts of your being that are dormant and waiting to be awakened. The inspiration you feel is the resonance of your soul recognizing itself. The very fact that you can perceive and appreciate that beautiful quality in another means that the seed of that same quality exists within you. To believe I could never be that brave is a mistake. The truth is, your capacity for bravery is the very thing that allows you to recognize it in another. These positive mirrors show you what you are ready to become. Imagine you are walking through an infinite art gallery, but the gallery contains only mirrors. Some are polished and perfect, and when you stand before them, they reflect your light back to you in a way that feels joyful and expansive. These are the easy relationships, the people who see and validate the best in you. But many other mirrors are distorted. They are like the mirrors in a carnival funhouse. One stretches your reflection, making you look menacingly tall. Another compresses it, making you look small and pathetic. Another twists your features into a grotesque caricature. The untrained response is to get angry at the mirror. You might yell at it, try to smash it, or desperately try to bend its surface to show you a more pleasing image. This is how we operate in our difficult relationships. We spend years trying to fix or change the other person, trying to force their distorted mirror to reflect what we want to see. It is an utterly futile and exhausting struggle. The path of wisdom is to change your approach entirely. When you come to a distorted mirror that gives you a jolt of negative emotion, you pause. You take a deep, grounding breath. And instead of trying to change the mirror, you ask a simple, transformative question: what is this mirror showing me about myself? Which part of my own face am I refusing to see that this mirror is now forcing me to confront? You are no longer a victim of the reflection. You have become a student of it. The person who triggers you is no longer an adversary, but a sacred diagnostic tool. They are a messenger delivering a crucial report on the state of your own inner world, pointing you directly to the next piece of shadow work that is ready to be integrated. With this understanding, all your relationships are transformed into a spiritual practice. They become the crucible in which your soul is purified. The purpose of a relationship is not to find someone who will make you happy or complete you. The purpose of a relationship is to find a mirror that is clear enough to show you to yourself. Your most intimate partners, your family, and your closest friends are the high-definition mirrors in your life. They will reflect your light and your shadows with unflinching accuracy. To run from a difficult relationship is often to simply run from yourself, only to find the same reflection waiting for you in the face of another person down the road. To stay, to breathe, and to use the interaction as a tool for self-inquiry is to accelerate your own healing beyond measure. This is the act of withdrawing your projections. You take your power back from the world. You stop blaming your spouse, your boss, or your parents for your feelings. You realize that no one has the power to make you feel anything. They can only act as a stimulus that activates a feeling that was already present, dormant within you. The locus of control returns to where it has always been, inside of you. This is the beginning of true freedom. But this profound realization begs a new question. If the outer world is merely a reflection, and trying to change the mirrors is a fool's errand, then where should my energy go? If my reality is shaped from the inside out, how do I consciously work with the raw material of creation? You must learn to master the most powerful creative force in the universe, the one thing you truly possess. You must understand the nature of the sacred currency of your attention. Having seen your own soul reflected in the mirror of others, you have reclaimed your power. You understand now that the world does not happen to you, it happens through you and for you. This realization brings with it a profound sense of responsibility and a critical question. If my inner state creates my outer experience, how do I consciously work with my inner state to create a reality of peace, purpose, and connection? The answer lies in mastering the most valuable and misunderstood resource you possess. It is more precious than time, more powerful than money. It is the sacred currency of your attention. Your attention is the directed flow of your life force. It is the focused beam of your creative energy. The ancient principle is absolute and unwavering. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And whatever you energize, you materialize. What you consistently focus on, you become. This is not a mystical platitude. It is the fundamental physics of consciousness. You are a creative being, constantly projecting a reality based on the focal point of your awareness. The problem is that, for most of your life, you have not been a conscious investor of this sacred currency. You have been squandering it, allowing it to be stolen, giving it away for free to any thought, emotion, or external drama that demands it. You have been living in a state of attention bankruptcy. Consider how you spend this currency on a typical day. You awaken, and your attention is immediately hijacked by the memory of a worry from yesterday. You invest your precious morning energy into a problem that does not exist in the present moment. You scroll through your phone, paying your attention to the curated lives of others, feeding the seeds of comparison and inadequacy. You listen to the news, investing your focus in stories of fear, conflict, and powerlessness, and you feel your own energy drain away. You engage in gossip, paying your attention to the perceived faults of another, which only reinforces the energy of judgment within yourself. At the end of the day, you feel exhausted, anxious, and depleted, wondering why your life feels so difficult. It is because you have unconsciously invested your entire life force into cultivating a reality of worry, lack, and fear. You have diligently watered the weeds, and now you are living in their overgrown thicket. Let us reframe this with a new metaphor. Your mind is a vast and fertile garden. Within this garden lie the seeds of every possible experience and emotion. There are seeds of joy, gratitude, compassion, and peace. There are also seeds of resentment, jealousy, despair, and victimhood. Every single seed is present within you as a potential. Now, imagine your attention is a powerful, concentrated beam of sunlight. It is the only thing in the garden that can make a seed sprout and grow. The seeds themselves are dormant. They have no power on their own. Their power comes entirely from you, from the light of your attention. When you allow your mind to dwell on a past injustice for an hour, you are not simply remembering. You are taking your sacred sunlight and shining it diligently on the seed of resentment. You are nurturing it, warming it, encouraging its roots to dig deeper into the soil of your psyche. When that seed eventually sprouts into a bitter plant that poisons your present moment, you cannot be surprised. You are the one who cultivated it. Conversely, when you are walking and you consciously choose to place your attention on the feeling of the sun on your skin, on the sound of children laughing, on the simple miracle of your body breathing, you are taking that same sunlight and shining it on the seeds of gratitude and presence. You are nurturing them, and they too will sprout, growing into a reality filled with simple joy and profound peace. This is not about denying the existence of the weeds. It is not about pretending that pain and difficulty do not exist. The weeds are there. The seeds of fear are real. The practice is not to pretend the garden is perfect. The practice is to consciously choose where you direct your sunlight. You are the master gardener of your own being. You have the absolute power to choose which seeds you will cultivate. This is the ultimate act of creative freedom, to take your attention off what is wrong and to deliberately place it upon what is right, to withdraw your energy from the story of your suffering and to invest it in the reality of your healing, to let the weeds of fear wither from neglect while you actively cultivate the flowers of love. This requires a new kind of discipline, attentional hygiene. Just as you care for your body by choosing what you eat, you must care for your soul by choosing what you feed it with your attention. The first step is simple awareness. Throughout your day, begin to ask yourself, where is my attention right now? Do not judge the answer. Simply notice. My attention has been caught in a loop of worrying about money. I see that my attention is fixated on an angry comment someone made. The simple act of noticing is the first step in reclaiming your power. It brings the unconscious process into the light. The second step is gentle redirection. You do not fight the worry. You do not try to violently uproot the weed, as this often gives it more energy. You simply, gently, and lovingly redirect the beam of your sunlight. You can redirect it to your breath, your constant anchor in the now. You can redirect it to a physical sensation in your body. You can redirect it to a thought of gratitude. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your muscle of conscious attention. This is the meaning of being the guardian at the gate of your own mind. You consciously choose what information you consume. You consciously choose the conversations you participate in. You realize that every moment is a choice. Will I invest my life force in what weakens me or in what strengthens me? Will I water the seeds of yesterday's pain or the seeds of this moment's possibility? Your life is the sum total of these small moment-to-moment investments. Your power is not in controlling the world. Your power is in controlling what you choose to energize with your focus. As you become a more conscious gardener, as you practice directing the sunlight of your attention, you begin to look more closely at the seeds themselves. You have been told they are your thoughts, but are they? Where do they come from? This endless stream of seeds that populate the garden of your mind. Who planted them there? To truly master this inner world, you must move from being the gardener to becoming the botanist of your own consciousness. You must investigate the source. You must stand back from the garden and observe the great, flowing current that delivers these seeds to you. You must learn to witness the river of thought. Having learned to consciously direct the sunlight of your attention, you have become the master gardener of your reality. You are no longer a passive victim of your inner landscape, but its active cultivator. Yet, a deeper inquiry now emerges. You have been working with these seeds, these thoughts, but what are they? Where do they come from? You have assumed your entire life that the voice in your head is you. You have believed that you are the thinker of your thoughts. This belief is the most fundamental and pervasive illusion of the human condition, and to see through it is to take the final step into true freedom. It is time to stand back and witness the great flowing river of thought. For most of your life, you have been fused with this river. You have not been a person who has thoughts, you have been the thoughts themselves. The stream of inner chatter has been the soundtrack to your existence, and you have never questioned its authority. The voice that narrates your life, that judges, worries, criticizes, and speculates, you have mistaken this voice for your own identity. When it whispered, "You are not good enough," you believed it and felt the sting of shame. When it screamed, "This is a disaster," you believed it and felt the grip of panic. You have been living as a prisoner within your own mind, taking orders from a relentless inner tyrant, believing its commentary was the absolute truth of who you are. This identification with the mind is the root of all psychological suffering. You are not suffering from life itself. You are suffering from the story about life that the voice in your head is constantly telling you. Let us now perform a simple, sacred experiment. For the next few moments, I want you to simply wait for your next thought to arise. Be like a cat watching a mouse hole. Be still, be alert, and just wait to see what the mind produces next. In that moment of waiting, who is doing the waiting? And what is it that you are waiting for? In that gap, in that silence, you have just experienced a profound truth. The one who is waiting, the one who is watching, is your true self, the silent, still awareness. The thought that eventually appears is something else. It is an object, an event that happens in your awareness. The watcher and the watched are two separate things. You are not the thought. You are the space in which the thought occurs. You are not the voice in the head. You are the silent listener who hears it. Let this realization sink into the very marrow of your being. This is the great unveiling. This is the severing of the chains of identification that have kept you captive for a lifetime. Imagine the stream of your thinking is a vast river. For your entire life, you have been in the water, swept along by its powerful currents. When the river was calm and sunny, you felt happy. When the river was turbulent and filled with dark debris, you felt afraid and overwhelmed. You have been struggling, thrashing, trying to swim against the current, trying to hold onto pleasant pieces of driftwood while frantically pushing away sharp rocks. You believed you were the river, so its every mood was your mood, its every struggle your struggle. The practice of presence is the simple, radical act of crawling out of the river and taking a seat on the bank. At first, this feels unnatural. The habit of a lifetime will pull at you, trying to lure you back into the water. The river of thought is still flowing, as relentlessly as ever. A thought about an unpaid bill floats by, and your instinct is to jump in and grapple with it. A memory of an old embarrassment floats by, and you feel the urge to dive in and push it under the surface. But this time, you resist. You simply sit on the bank. You anchor yourself with your breath, and you watch. You watch the thoughts float by like leaves on the water. You do not interfere with them. You do not judge them. You do not try to stop the river or alter its course. You are simply the silent, impartial witness on the bank. You see a thought of fear float past. You acknowledge it. Ah, fear, and you let it go. You see a thought of judgment. Ah, judgment, and you let it continue on its way down the river. You see a happy memory, a fantasy about the future, a snippet of a song, a random word. You treat them all the same. You are not the river. You are the vast, peaceful, unmoving riverbank. From this vantage point, you realize a stunning truth. The thoughts have no power over you unless you jump into the river and identify with them. A fearful thought is not the problem. The problem is believing the fearful thought and becoming the fear. From the safety of the bank, You can see it is just a piece of debris floating by. It cannot harm you unless you give it your power by becoming one with it. Where does this endless river come from? Its sources are many and are largely impersonal. It is fed by the streams of your genetic predispositions, your childhood conditioning, the culture you live in, the collective consciousness of humanity. The thoughts that pass through your mind are not your unique personal creations. They are more like mental weather patterns. Some days, the river is murky and stormy. On other days, it is clear and calm. You are not to blame for the weather. Your task is not to control the weather, but to remain firmly grounded on the bank, observing it all pass by. This realization frees you from the immense burden of guilt and shame for having so-called bad thoughts. You would not condemn yourself for a cloudy day, so why condemn yourself for a period of anxious or negative thinking? It is just weather. It will pass if you let it. This practice of non-identification, of being the witness on the riverbank, is the very heart of freedom. You are no longer a boat tossed on the waves of your own mind. You have found an anchor in the stillness of your own being. You have discovered a place of profound peace that is untouched by the chaos of the river. This is the peace of God, the stillness of the Buddha, the unshakable presence that is your true nature. As you become more established on this riverbank of awareness, you begin to perceive the river in a new way. You start to notice not just the individual leaves and branches floating by, but the quality of the water itself. You notice the energy behind the thoughts. You can feel the current. Sometimes it is sluggish and heavy, at other times it is frantic and fast. This underlying energy that colors and drives the river of thought also has a name. It is emotion. These are the deep currents that shape the flow of your thinking. To become a true master of your inner world, it is not enough to simply observe the surface debris. You must learn to understand the language of the river's current. You must learn to use the divine guidance system that is the compass of emotion. You are seated on the peaceful bank of the river, watching the endless stream of thought flow by without being swept away. From this place of stillness, you notice the powerful current beneath the surface, the invisible force that gives the river its speed and character. This current is emotion. For most of your life, you have had a deeply troubled relationship with this current. You have treated your emotions as enemies or as fleeting rewards. You have divided them into two camps: the good emotions like happiness, love, and joy, and the bad emotions like anger, sadness, and fear. Your life has been a relentless pursuit of the good and a desperate flight from the bad. This division is the source of a deep inner conflict, a civil war that has raged within your soul. You have tried to numb your sadness, suppress your anger, and distract yourself from your fear, all while chasing after a happiness that seems as elusive as a butterfly. But what if this entire framework is wrong? What if there are no bad emotions? What if every single feeling that arises within you is a sacred messenger, a loving guide? It is time to stop fighting the current and learn to read its wisdom. It is time to learn how to use the compass of emotion. Imagine that deep within you is a flawless, unbreakable compass. The needle of this compass does not point to a geographic location. Its true north is your authentic self, your soul, your direct connection to the infinite intelligence of the universe. When you are aligned with this true self, your thoughts are clear, your actions are inspired, and your state of being is one of peace and love. Your emotions are the needle of this inner compass, constantly giving you feedback on your position relative to your own true north. They are not judging you. They are not punishing you. They are simply and perfectly indicating your alignment in every moment. When you feel emotions like joy, love, peace, enthusiasm, or gratitude, the needle of your compass is pointing directly to true north. These feelings are a signal from your soul saying, yes. This thought you are thinking, this belief you are holding, this action you are taking is in harmony with who you truly are. Continue in this direction. These pleasant feelings are not a reward to be hoarded. They are a confirmation of your alignment. They are the felt sense of your connection to Source. When you feel emotions like anger, fear, despair, jealousy, or sadness, the needle of your compass is swinging away from true north. This is not a punishment. This is not a sign that you are bad or broken. It is a loving, urgent signal from your soul saying, warning. The thought you are currently believing is not in harmony with who you truly are. The story you are telling yourself right now is untrue. Please, recalibrate, reconsider your thinking. These so-called negative emotions are your most faithful allies. They are the rumbling strips on the side of the highway, designed to wake you up when you are drifting off course. To numb them or ignore them is like cutting the wires to your own guidance system and then wondering why you feel so lost. Let us see these emotions not as character flaws, but as the weather of the soul. Your inner world is a climate, and your feelings are the daily forecast. To wish for permanent sunshine is to wish for a desert, a place where nothing can grow. A rich inner life requires a full spectrum of weather. Anger is a thunderstorm. It builds up when a boundary has been crossed, when an injustice is perceived, when your life force feels blocked. The electrical charge is not evil. It is a sign of immense energy that needs to be addressed. To suppress the storm only makes it more volatile. The wise soul learns to honor the storm, to understand its message, and to use its energy to clear the air and restore balance. Sadness is a gentle, cleansing rain. It comes in times of loss, when something we have cherished is gone. To fight back tears is to build a dam against this necessary rain. Allowing yourself to feel sadness is to allow the soul to be watered, to grieve what was, and to enrich the soil for what is to come. Fear and anxiety are a thick fog. They roll in when your mind has left the safety of the present moment and is lost in projections of a negative future. The fog feels disorienting and terrifying. Its message is not to run blindly through the mist, but to stop, to become still, to use your other senses, like the feeling of your feet on the ground or the sound of your own breath, to find your bearings right here, right now, until the fog of imagined futures naturally lifts. To work with this compass, you must learn the practice of radical allowance. When a difficult emotion arises, the old habit is to either get lost in the story behind replaying the injustice that made you angry or to immediately try and escape the feeling itself. The new way is to do neither. The practice is to bring your attention out of your head and into your body. When the storm of anger arises, ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? Is it a heat in your chest, a tightness in your throat, a vibration in your hands? Do not judge it. Do not try to change it. Simply be with the raw, physical sensation of the energy itself. Breathe into it. Hold it in your compassionate awareness, as you would hold a crying child. By doing this, you separate the pure energy of the emotion from the mental story that keeps it spinning. You allow the emotion to deliver its energetic message, and then, having been heard and honored, its cycle can complete, and it can pass through you, leaving you wiser and clearer than before. You are not trying to fix the feeling. You are allowing the feeling to fix you by pointing you back toward your own truth. You begin to see that your emotions are your most intimate and trustworthy guides. They are the language of your soul, speaking to you far more honestly than the chattering river of thought. They are constantly showing you the way home. They are always pointing you back toward alignment, back toward the thoughts and beliefs that resonate with the profound peace of your true being. This raises a new and essential question. This compass is always pointing toward or away from an optimal state. But what is that state? What is this alignment, this true north, in its purest form? It is more than just a thought or a feeling. It is an energetic state of being. To understand the goal of our inner compass, we must move beyond psychology and into the realm of energy. We must explore the very frequency at which our being is operating. We must learn about the vibration of being. Having learned to read the divine compass of your emotions, you now understand that your feelings are a guidance system, constantly pointing you toward or away from your own true north. But what is this state of alignment that your soul perpetually seeks? It is more than a fleeting good mood or a positive thought. It is the very resonance of your being. To grasp this, we must journey to the foundation of reality itself, to a truth understood by ancient mystics and confirmed by modern physics. Everything is energy. Everything is vibration. The chair you sit on, the air you breathe, the body you inhabit appear solid and separate, but at their most fundamental level, they are all composed of patterns of energy, vibrating at different speeds. The universe is not a collection of static, dead things. It is a single, vast, living ocean of vibrating consciousness. You are not a drop in this ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop. Your thoughts are vibrations. Your emotions are vibrations. Your very being is a symphony of frequencies, a complex chord that resonates within the grand orchestra of the cosmos. This is not just a beautiful idea. It is the key to understanding how you create your reality. Because everything is vibration, you are, by nature, a vibrational being. Your overall state of being at any given moment is your personal energetic signature. This signature is determined by the dominant frequency of your emotions and beliefs. We can imagine a vibrational scale. At the very lowest end of the scale, you find the densest, slowest frequencies: shame, guilt, and apathy. A little higher up, you find grief, then fear, then anger. As you continue to move up the scale, the vibrations become faster and lighter. You move into courage, then acceptance, then reason. And at the highest end of the spectrum, you find the fastest, most luminous frequencies: love, joy, gratitude, and peace. This highest state is your natural resonance. It is your home frequency. It is the true north on your inner compass. The so-called negative emotions you feel are not wrong. They are simply an indication that you are, through your thinking, vibrating at a lower frequency than your natural state. The feeling of joy or love is the felt experience of your personal vibration coming into harmony with the high frequency of your soul, of source energy itself. Your life's work, the entire purpose of your spiritual journey, is to consciously and consistently tune your own personal vibration to match the high, clear frequency of your true north. Now, we arrive at the great creative secret of the universe, the principle of resonance. You are a living broadcast tower, a powerful radio transmitter, sending out a signal into the universe 24 hours a day. That signal is your dominant vibration. The universe, in its infinite intelligence and impartiality, does not respond to your words, your pleadings, or your desires. It responds with perfect and unfailing accuracy to the frequency you are broadcasting. Like attracts like. The law is not that you get what you want. The law is that you get what you are. Imagine you wish to listen to a beautiful classical symphony. You know it is being broadcast on a specific frequency, say 98.7 FM. However, your own radio transmitter is currently set to 66.6 AM, a frequency of static, chaos, and distressing noise. You can sit by your radio all day, begging it, praying to it, demanding that it play the symphony. But it cannot. It can only play the station it is tuned to. The speakers of your life can only broadcast the music that matches your energetic signal. If your dominant vibration is one of fear, "I'm afraid I won't have enough money," the universe will not hear your words, "I want abundance." It will receive the frequency of fear and lack, and it will obediently orchestrate circumstances and events that match that frequency, giving you more experiences to be fearful about. If your dominant vibration is one of frustration and blame, "My life is so hard and it's their fault," the universe will match that frequency by bringing you more frustrating situations and more people to blame. It is not punishing you. It is simply honoring the signal you are broadcasting with perfect integrity. To change the music of your life, you must stop yelling at the radio. You must stop trying to fix the speakers. You must go to the broadcast tower of your own being and consciously change the frequency you are sending out. How is this done? It is not done through wishful thinking. You cannot stand in a state of fear and simply think, "I am peaceful." The universe responds to the feeling, the vibration, not the empty word. The key is to generate the feeling of the desired reality now, before it has manifested. This is why gratitude is the most powerful creative state. When you find something, anything, to be genuinely grateful for, you begin to vibrate at the frequency of abundance. You are broadcasting the signal of, "I have enough, I am blessed." The universe receives this signal and has no choice but to send you more experiences that match it. When you cultivate the feeling of love, not for a specific person, but as a state of being, you begin to vibrate at the highest frequency, and you will find love reflected back at you from the most unexpected places. This is the alchemy we have been preparing for. You use your breath to calm the body. You use your awareness to step out of the river of thought. You use your emotional compass to see which way you are pointing. And then you make a conscious choice. You choose a thought, a memory, or a focus that generates a higher frequency feeling. You choose to feel appreciation now. You choose to feel peace now. You are deliberately, consciously changing your broadcast. You are tuning your own dial to the frequency of the reality you wish to experience. But as you begin this practice, you may notice a powerful source of interference, a thick, heavy static that seems to keep your signal locked on a low frequency, no matter how hard you try to change it. This static is the energy of old wounds, blame, and resentment. It is the dense, slow vibration of unforgiveness. Holding a grievance against another person, or against yourself, is like broadcasting your beautiful symphony through a thick layer of mud. It clogs your energetic channels and tethers you to the low frequencies of anger and victimhood. To truly clear your signal and allow your vibration to rise to its natural, joyful state, you must be willing to purify your own energy field in the most powerful way possible. You must be willing to step into the intense, transformative heat of the alchemist's fire. You must enter the forge of forgiveness. You have awakened to the truth that you are a vibrational being, broadcasting a signal that shapes your reality. You have learned that your primary work is to tune your own frequency to the high, clear resonance of peace, love, and joy. Yet, you may have noticed a powerful and persistent interference, a dense static that seems to tether you to the lower frequencies of suffering, no matter how much you wish to ascend. This static has a name. It is the poison of unforgiveness. Holding a grievance, clutching a resentment, nurturing a story of blame. This is the heaviest anchor you can cast into the sea of your own consciousness. It is the single most effective way to keep your vibration low and to guarantee the recreation of painful experiences. The egoic mind will immediately resist the very idea of forgiveness. It will scream, "But what they did was wrong. They don't deserve my forgiveness." It will argue, to forgive them is to say what happened was acceptable, to let them off the hook. It will whisper, to forgive is to be weak, to surrender, to lose. These arguments feel incredibly valid, for they are born from real pain. We will not dismiss this pain. We will honor it by illuminating it with a higher truth. The greatest misunderstanding ever taught is that forgiveness is a gift you give to another person. Forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is the act of you deciding to no longer drink poison and hope that the other person gets sick. It is the moment you decide to set yourself free. Let us dismantle the myths that have turned forgiveness into a cage. First, forgiveness is not condoning. It is not saying, what you did was okay. What happened may have been deeply, unequivocally not okay. Forgiveness is saying, I recognize the absolute wrongness of what happened, and I will no longer allow that past event to have the power to destroy my present peace. It is the severing of an energetic cord that binds you to your own pain. You can forgive someone completely and still choose to remove them from your life. You can forgive someone and still seek justice through legal channels. Forgiveness is an internal, energetic shift. It is about cleaning your own inner house, regardless of what is happening in theirs. Second, forgiveness is not weakness. It is the pinnacle of spiritual strength. It is easy to live in the story of blame and victimhood. It gives the ego a sense of righteousness and a coherent narrative for its suffering. It takes immense courage and profound self-love to say, "No more. My inner peace is more important than my story of grievance. I take full and radical responsibility for my own energetic state, and I choose to be free." The weak person clings to their resentment because their identity is built upon it. The strong person is willing to dissolve a part of their old identity in the fire of forgiveness in order to be reborn into a higher state of being. Here is the central metaphor you must understand. To hold a resentment is to grasp a burning hot coal in your hand with the intention of someday throwing it at the person who hurt you. While you wait for the perfect moment, while you rehearse the throw in your mind, while you justify your right to hold the coal, your own hand is being seared, your flesh is burning, your energy is consumed by the agony of holding on. The other person may be living their life miles away, completely unaware of the coal or your pain. You are the only one who is being burned. Forgiveness is the simple, wise, and profoundly self-loving act of opening your hand and letting the coal drop. This is not a cold, intellectual process. It is a fiery, alchemical transformation that happens in the forge of your own heart. It requires you to be willing to feel the pain one last time, not as a helpless victim reliving the trauma, but as a powerful, conscious observer witnessing an old energy pattern. You bring the memory and the person into the sanctuary of your awareness. You use your breath to stay anchored in your body. You give yourself permission to feel the full spectrum of the emotion without judgment. Feel the rage, feel the betrayal, feel the deep, aching sadness. Let the storm rage within the safe container of your presence. You are not the storm. You are the vast, unshakable sky that holds the storm. And then, from this place of empowered witnessing, you make a choice. You consciously withdraw your life-giving attention from the story. You revoke its lease in the precious real estate of your mind. You can say, "I see this energy. I honor the pain it represents, and now I release my claim to it. I release you from the prison of my resentment, not for your sake, but for mine. I set myself free." With every out-breath, you imagine the dark, heavy energy of the grievance leaving your body. You feel the tension in your hand as it finally lets go of the burning coal. You are not forcing anything. You are simply ceasing to do the thing that was harming you. You are stopping the act of repoisoning yourself. Often, the most difficult person to forgive is not another, but yourself. We hold on to a burning coal of shame for a past mistake. For a time we acted out of fear. For a moment we betrayed our own values. We become trapped in a loop of self-recrimination. The process is the same. You must extend this radical compassion to the person you once were. That person did the best they could with the level of consciousness and the pain they were in at that moment. To condemn your past self is to condemn a child for not knowing how to read. See that past self with the eyes of a loving parent. Embrace them in your awareness. Acknowledge their mistake, and then whisper to them, "I forgive you. You are released. You are free." In forgiving your past self, you liberate your present self to create a new future. When you finally let the coal drop, the relief is palpable. A vast amount of life force, which was being consumed by the toxic fire of resentment, is suddenly returned to you. The dense static that was jamming your vibrational broadcast is gone. Your signal to the universe becomes clear, pure, and high frequency. You have cleansed the channel. For the first time, you may feel an energetic buoyancy, a lightness of being that you had forgotten was possible. You have released the heaviest anchor tethering you to the past. You are now floating, free from the crushing weight of old grievances. You are no longer being dragged down by the ghosts of yesterday. This new, unburdened state makes an entirely new way of living possible. You no longer need to fight, to strive, to control. The energy of resistance can finally dissolve. Having dropped the anchor, you can now learn to flow with the great river of life, trusting its intelligence and wisdom. You are ready to learn the graceful, profound, and liberating art of letting go. You are ready to explore the nature of true surrender. You have stepped out of the fiery forge of forgiveness, leaving the heaviest anchor of your past behind. A new lightness permeates your being, a sense of buoyancy you may not have felt since childhood. The static that once jammed your connection to the universe has been cleared. Now, in this open, uncluttered state, the egoic mind rushes in to offer a new strategy. It says, "Great, now that we are free from the past, let us grab the oars and row with all our might. Let us create a detailed 5-year plan. Let us control our destiny and force life to give us what we want." This is the voice of the separate self, the part of you that believes it is a lonely warrior in an indifferent universe, whose survival and happiness depend entirely on its own cleverness and relentless effort. This belief in the necessity of control is the source of all anxiety. It is the futile attempt to command the tides, a struggle that guarantees only exhaustion and disillusionment. There is a more graceful way, a path of profound power that is disguised as its opposite. It is the path of true surrender. The word surrender has been deeply misunderstood by the ego. It has been equated with defeat, passivity, weakness, and giving up. This is not surrender. This is resignation. Resignation is a state of hopeless victimhood. It is the bitter sigh of, "I give up. Nothing I do matters anyway." It is a low-frequency state born from despair. True spiritual surrender is something else entirely. It is an active, courageous, and highly intelligent state of being. It is the conscious choice to release your white-knuckled grip on how you think life should be, in order to align with the perfect, intelligent unfolding of life as it is. It is the wisdom to stop fighting a current that is trying to carry you home. It is looking at the present moment, no matter what it contains, and offering it a deep internal yes. Let us return to the river. We have learned to observe it from the bank and to navigate it by forgiving those who threw rocks into our path. Now we must learn the art of flowing with the river itself. The person living in resistance is a frantic swimmer. They are convinced the ocean of peace lies upstream, so they fight the current with every ounce of their energy, becoming ever more exhausted and getting nowhere. Or they find a small, familiar rock a comfort zone, a limiting belief, a stable but unfulfilling job, and they cling to it for dear life, terrified of the powerful, unknown current that rushes past. Their entire life is consumed by the tension of holding on. This is the life of control, of resistance. It is a life defined by fear. True surrender is the moment the exhausted swimmer finally lets go. They stop fighting. They release their grip on the rock. They have the supreme courage to turn onto their back, gaze at the sky, and trust that the water will hold them. And a miracle occurs. They are held, they are supported, they are carried. They realize the river was never their enemy. The river is the flow of life, the Tao, the divine intelligence itself, and it has a destination far grander than any they could have conceived of with their limited mind. By ceasing their struggle, they have not lost power. They have merged with the immense power of the river itself. This does not mean you become a passive log, bumping aimlessly into every obstacle. This is the difference between surrender and resignation. The log is helpless. The surrendered swimmer is exquisitely aware. They are relaxed, yet alert. As they float with the current, they use a gentle hand to steer around a sharp rock. They use their feet to push off from a shallow bank. They are in a state of responsive dance with the river. They take action where action is needed, but it is an action that arises from the flow, not in opposition to it. They are no longer trying to control the river's direction, only their graceful passage within it. This is the harmony of being and doing, the dance of surrender and conscious action. How do you practice this in your daily life? Surrender is your response to the moments when reality does not match your expectations. A project you worked on fails. The resistant response is panic, blame, and despair. The surrendered response is to take a breath and say, "Okay, this door has closed. I release my attachment to that specific outcome, and I trust that this is a necessary redirection. What is life trying to teach me here? What new door is opening?" You are fired from a job. The surrendered response is not to collapse in defeat, but to say, "I trust this is clearing space for something more aligned with my soul's purpose. The universe is pruning my life. I am open to what comes next." You are met with a difficult emotion, like grief. The resistant response is to numb it or distract yourself. The surrendered response is to say, "I consent to this feeling. I allow this wave of sadness to move through me, trusting that it is a healing process." Surrender is the ultimate act of faith. Not faith in a specific outcome, but faith in the wisdom of the process of life itself. It is the deep knowing that even the challenges, the detours, and the heartbreaks are part of a perfect, albeit mysterious, plan for your soul's evolution. It is releasing the need to understand why everything is happening, and instead trusting that it is all happening for your highest good. You shift from being the anxious chess player, trying to calculate every possible move, to being the chessboard itself, allowing the divine game to unfold upon you with a sense of wonder and trust. When you begin to live in this state of surrender, your entire energy field changes. The contracted, tense energy of resistance is replaced by an open, relaxed, and receptive energy. You stop fighting with life, and you discover that life was never fighting with you. You realize you are being constantly supported, guided, and carried by an intelligence far greater than your own. This profound state of inner quiet, this cessation of the ego's desperate striving, has a remarkable side effect. It turns you into a finely tuned spiritual instrument. By silencing your own mental noise and agenda, you create the inner space required to perceive the subtle, gentle communications of the universe. The frantic swimmer is too busy struggling to notice the signs on the riverbank, but the one who is floating peacefully can see everything with perfect clarity. Having surrendered to the river, you are now finally in a position to hear its deepest secrets. You are ready to begin listening to the whispers of the universe. Having learned the graceful art of surrender, you are no longer fighting the river of life. You are floating in a state of peaceful, alert trust, carried by a current of divine intelligence. From this serene vantage point, a new perception awakens. The world, which once seemed inert, random, or even hostile, begins to reveal itself as something entirely different. You start to notice a subtle magic weaving through the fabric of your days. You begin to understand that the universe is not silent. It is, and has always been, in a constant, intimate dialogue with you. You were simply too busy struggling in the water to hear its voice. Now, in the quietude of your surrender, you can finally begin listening to its whispers. This conversation is not conducted in human language. It is a dialogue of energy, symbol, and feeling. The universe is a conscious, living intelligence, and it is constantly offering you guidance, confirmation, and clues. Your life is not a monologue of your own desires and fears. It is a divine duet. But the voice of the universe is not a shout. It does not compete with the clamor of your egoic mind. It is a whisper, a gentle nudge, a subtle sign. It can only be heard when you cultivate inner silence. Most of humanity lives in a state of profound spiritual deafness, not because the universe is quiet, but because their own minds are too loud. The universe speaks to you in three primary languages. The first is the language of synchronicity. This is when the inner world of your thoughts and feelings aligns with the outer world of events in a way that is too meaningful to be mere chance. It is the universe winking at you. You may be pondering a difficult problem, and you overhear a conversation between strangers that contains the exact answer you were seeking. You may think of an old friend for the first time in years, only to have them call you that very afternoon. You might feel a sudden, inexplicable urge to take a different route home, only to learn later that you avoided a major traffic accident. These are not coincidences. They are stitches in time, moments where the veil thins, and you are shown the intelligent, responsive nature of the reality you inhabit. Synchronicities are signposts. They are the universe's way of saying, yes, you are on the right path, or pay attention, this is important. The second language is that of symbols and signs. The universe speaks through the imagery of the natural world and the events of your daily life. An eagle soaring overhead at a moment of decision, a heart-shaped stone appearing on your path when you are thinking about love, a recurring number that seems to follow you everywhere. The key to this language is to avoid rigid, external interpretations. The universe is speaking to you in a personal code built from your own consciousness. The important question is not, what does this symbol mean in a book? The important question is, what does this symbol mean to me right now? What feeling does it evoke in my heart? A feather might be a message of lightness and freedom for one person, and a reminder of a loved one who has passed for another. The universe uses the vocabulary of your own soul to communicate with you. These signs are prompts for inner reflection, invitations to pause and connect with your deeper knowing. The third, and most direct language, is that of intuition. This is the inner whisper itself, the quiet voice of your soul. It is the gut feeling, the hunch, the instantaneous knowing that arises from a place beyond logic and reason. Intuition does not argue or explain itself. It is a simple, clear, non-verbal sense of yes or no. It is the feeling of expansion, warmth, and rightness when a choice is aligned with your path. It is the feeling of contraction, coldness, and unease when a choice is out of alignment. This is your inner compass in its purest form, your direct line to the wisdom of your higher self. The rational mind may shout with 100 well-reasoned arguments, but the whisper of intuition, though quiet, holds the greater truth. So how do we learn to hear these whispers more clearly? Imagine you are trying to hear the secrets of a wise and loving friend. If you arrange to meet in the middle of a loud, chaotic marketplace, you will fail. You will be distracted by the shouting of vendors, your anxious thoughts, the jostling of the crowd, your external dramas, and the overwhelming noise, the constant stimulation of modern life. You might catch a word here or there, but you will miss the essence of the message. This marketplace is the state of the undisciplined mind. To truly listen, you must invite your friend, the universe, into the sacred temple of silence. This temple is your state of presence. You enter it through meditation, through a quiet walk in nature, through the conscious act of focusing on your breath. You enter it anytime you deliberately quiet the noise of the ego. In the hallowed stillness of this temple, your spiritual senses become sharp. You are not straining to hear. You are simply creating the quiet space where hearing becomes inevitable. Learning to trust this subtle guidance is a practice. The ego will doubt it. The rational mind will demand proof. You build this trust by starting small. Follow a small, intuitive nudge to call a certain person, to read a certain book, to explore a certain interest, and watch the beautiful, supportive results that unfold. Each time you honor a whisper and are met with a positive outcome, you build the muscle of faith. You learn through direct experience that you are part of a loving and intelligent system that is actively trying to guide you toward your greatest joy and highest expression. You are not alone. You are in a constant, loving conversation. As you become more fluent in this dialogue, you begin to recognize that it is not random. It operates according to a set of profound and elegant principles. There is a grammar to this divine language, a deep logic that underpins all of creation. To become a more conscious co-creator with the universe, it is wise to understand its fundamental laws of communication and manifestation. The most basic of these, often misunderstood as a cosmic system of reward and punishment, is the beautiful, impartial law of energetic cause and effect. We must now explore the impeccable logic of the law of cause and resonance. You are now floating in the river of life, listening to the subtle dialogue of the universe. You understand that you are in a responsive, intelligent system that is constantly communicating with you. As you become more attuned to this conversation, you begin to perceive its underlying structure, a divine grammar that governs the flow of energy and experience. The most fundamental principle of this grammar has been known for millennia, though it has often been shrouded in fear and misunderstanding. It has been called the law of karma. It is time to wipe away the dust of superstition from this profound truth and see it for what it is. Not a law of moral punishment, but a perfect, impersonal law of physics. It is the law of cause and resonance. The common understanding of karma is that of a cosmic balancing of scales. It suggests a great, unseen judge who keeps a detailed ledger of your good and bad deeds. If you do something good, you accumulate merit and will be rewarded later. If you do something bad, you incur a debt and will be punished, perhaps in a future lifetime, by some unpleasant fate. This interpretation, while born from a desire for justice, creates a reality based on fear. It casts the universe as a judgmental parent and you as a child who must constantly worry about pleasing or displeasing it. It reduces a profound spiritual law to a simple system of reward and punishment, keeping you in a low vibrational state of anxiety and apprehension. This is a profound misreading of a beautiful and elegant truth. The universe is not a judge, it is a mirror. The law is not moral, it is mathematical. It does not operate on the level of good and bad, but on the level of energy and frequency. Every single thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is a cause. It is a vibrational ripple that you send out into the single unified field of consciousness. This ripple does not travel out and then trigger a separate retaliatory ripple to be sent back at you by a cosmic scorekeeper. That is not how it works. Rather, the ripple you send out immediately begins to condition the energetic environment around you. You begin to inhabit the ripple you have created. The effect is not separate from the cause. It is a direct and resonant extension of it. Imagine you are standing alone in a vast, silent valley, a valley with the mystical quality of producing a perfect echo. This valley is the universe. It is neutral, impartial, and infinitely responsive. If you draw a deep breath and shout into this valley with a voice full of rage and hatred, "I hate you," what happens? Does the valley become offended? Does it consult a rule book and decide to punish you for your negativity? Number, it simply, mechanically, and perfectly reflects the energy it was given. From the surrounding cliffs, the echo returns in a voice of rage and hatred. "I hate you." Now imagine you take another breath, this time filling your lungs with love and appreciation, and you shout, "I love you." Does the valley praise you for your virtue? Does it decide to reward you? Number, it once again impartially reflects the energy it received. The clear, loving echo returns. "I love you." Oh, your life is this echoing valley. The consistent energy you broadcast through your dominant thoughts, your emotional state, your words, and your actions is the shout. The life you experience is the echo. If you live your days shouting resentment, judgment, and fear into the valley, do not be surprised when the echo you inhabit is filled with experiences that give you more to resent, judge, and fear. You are not being punished. You are simply living in the resonant field of your own making. If you consciously choose to shout kindness, appreciation, and compassion into the valley, you will inevitably find yourself living within an echo of kindness, appreciation, and compassion. People will be kind to you, not because you have earned good karma points, but because your own energy field makes it easy and natural for the kindness within them to emerge. Opportunities for connection will appear because you are vibrating at the frequency of connection. This explains why patterns seem to repeat so relentlessly in people's lives. The person who holds the core belief, "I am always abandoned," will broadcast this subtle frequency of fearful expectation. This vibration will be picked up by others who may unconsciously feel the need to pull away. When they do, the person's belief is confirmed. "See, I am always abandoned." They then shout this belief back into the valley with even more conviction, and the echo becomes louder, creating a self-perpetuating prison of experience. To break the cycle, they do not need to change everyone else in the world. They only need to change the original shout. They must begin the brave work of cultivating the feeling and belief that I am worthy of love and connection, and shouting that into the valley, day after day, until the echo begins to change. This is the meaning of radical responsibility. There are no villains, there are no victims. There is only cause and the resonant effect. There is only the shout and the echo. Seeing this clearly is the end of all blame. How can you blame the valley for echoing your own voice? How can you blame the mirror for showing your own reflection? All power returns to you. You are not a pawn in a cosmic game, subject to the whims of fate or the judgments of a distant god. You are the source. You are the causal point. The entire universe is arranged around you, waiting patiently and lovingly to reflect the truth of the energy you choose to embody. This realization is perhaps the most profound and liberating on the spiritual path. It removes every excuse and dissolves every fear of external punishment. It places the raw material of reality directly into your hands. If the universe is simply a flawless system of energetic reflection, if the law is simply to give you the perfect echo of your own broadcast, then you are not just a passenger on this journey. You are not just an observer or a participant. You are the one standing in the center of the valley, holding the power to create worlds with your voice. You are the architect of reality. You are standing in the center of the echoing valley of your life. You have shouted into the void and heard your own voice return. You have seen your soul in the mirror of others. You have learned the fundamental, unshakable law of the universe. What you are, you experience. The world is not a solid, separate thing that happens to you. It is a fluid, energetic reflection of your own consciousness. With this realization, the dream of being a victim dissolves like mist in the morning sun. The identity of the pawn, the wanderer, the one to whom things happen, falls away. And in its place, a new identity awakens. It is an identity of awesome power and profound responsibility. You awaken to the truth of your own being. You are the architect of reality. This is the moment of your true coronation. For your entire life, you have been a king or a queen living in disguise as a beggar, unaware of the creative power that flows through you. You have been creating your reality all along, but you have been doing it unconsciously, by default. You have been handing the universe messy, contradictory blueprints drawn with the crayons of fear and worry, and then lamenting the chaotic structure that gets built. Now, you awaken to your tools. You awaken to your birthright, which is to create with deliberation, with intention, and with love. You are no longer a piece of clay being shaped by the random hands of fate. You are the sculptor, and your own consciousness is both the chisel and the stone. Let us examine the tools of the divine architect. Your first and most essential tool is your thought, which, when disciplined, becomes your imagination. Your imagination is the drawing board of the universe. It is the drafting table where the blueprints of your future are created. Every single thing that exists in the human world first existed as a thought, an image held in someone's mind. The chair you sit in, the room you are in, the device you are listening on were once just an idea, a blueprint in the mind of their creator. In the same way, the circumstances of your life tomorrow are being drawn on the drafting table of your mind today. What are you drawing? Are your blueprints clear, detailed, and infused with a sense of purpose and joy? Or are they smudged, sketches of anxiety, vague outlines of disaster, and repetitive plans for recreating the failures of the past? The universe is a master builder, but it can only build according to the plans you provide. Your second tool, upon which everything is built, is the foundation of your core beliefs. Beliefs are simply thoughts that you have thought over and over and over again until they have sunk beneath the level of conscious thought and become the unquestioned operating system of your reality. They are the foundational slab you pour for any structure you wish to build. If your core foundation is poured with beliefs like, "I am not worthy," "life is a struggle," "there is never enough," or "I always get hurt," you cannot build a palace of joy and abundance upon it. The foundation itself will crack. You can draw the most beautiful blueprint for a loving relationship, but if it is built on a foundation of "I am unlovable," the entire structure is doomed to collapse. A great deal of the architect's work is not in drawing new plans, but in the courageous, patient work of excavating the faulty foundations laid down in childhood and pouring a new, solid foundation of "I am worthy," "I am safe," "I am abundant," "I am love." The third tool is the electric current of emotion. If thought is the blueprint and belief is the foundation, your feelings are the life-giving energy that powers the entire construction. You can have a perfect blueprint and a solid foundation, but without this emotional current, nothing happens. The universe does not respond to your dry, intellectual thoughts. It responds to the vibration of your feeling state. This is why positive affirmations alone often fail. You can repeat the words, "I am peaceful," 1,000 times, but if you are feeling the frantic, chaotic energy of anxiety, the universe ignores the words and responds perfectly to the anxious vibration. The architect's secret is to generate the feeling that corresponds with the finished blueprint. You do not just look at the drawing of the beautiful house. You imagine what it feels like to live there. You feel the warmth of its fireplace. You feel the joy of welcoming friends through its door. You feel the peace of watching the sunset from its window. This feeling is the magnetic creative force that draws the materials and circumstances together for the actual construction. The final tool is inspired action. This is the work of the builders. In the old model of reality, you believed that action was about forcing, striving, and struggling. You were the lone builder, trying to do everything yourself. In this new model, you understand that action is the final, natural, and often effortless step in the creative process. When your blueprint is clear, imagination, your foundation is solid, belief, and the power is on, feeling, the master builder of the universe will begin to orchestrate events. It will then prompt you. You will get a sudden urge to make a phone call. An idea for a project will land in your mind, fully formed. You will feel a pull to go to a certain place at a certain time. This is inspired action. It does not feel like a struggle. It feels like a natural unfolding, a joyful participation in the dance of creation. Your only job is to trust these intuitive nudges and act on them without hesitation. Think of it this way: your consciousness is a fertile garden. Your core beliefs are the climate of that garden. Your thoughts are the seeds you plant. Your attention is the sunlight, and your emotions are the water. To expect a beautiful life to grow from seeds of fear, watered with feelings of resentment in a climate of unworthiness, is an exercise in futility. The wise architect becomes the master gardener. They carefully cultivate a climate of self-worth. They consciously choose to plant only the seeds of love, health, and abundance. And they diligently water these seeds with the feelings of gratitude and joy. They know, with unshakable faith, that the garden that results will be a paradise, not by chance, but by divine design. Take up your tools, for you can no longer pretend you do not have them. You are the architect. This is your power and your purpose. No longer will you create by default, unconsciously handing the universe scribbles of fear. From this moment on, you can make a vow to create with intention. I am the architect of my reality. I will choose my thoughts with care. I will cultivate my feelings with love. I will examine my beliefs with courage. And I will build a life that is a true reflection of the divine being that I am. But how does the architect most effectively communicate their vision to the master builder? They do not simply show them the plans. They bring them into the finished building through the power of imagination. They must learn the mystical technique of living in the end. They must master the art of assuming the wish fulfilled. You stand now as the architect of your reality, aware of your tools and awake to your power. You understand that your world is a reflection of your inner state, and that the universe responds not to your pleas but to your presence. With this knowledge, you are ready to learn the master technique of all conscious creation, a secret held dear by the great mystics and sages throughout history. It is a method so simple in its execution that the rational mind rebels against it, yet so powerful in its effect that it can reshape your world. It is the art of assuming the wish fulfilled. Let us first examine the old way of praying, the model of reality that has been taught for centuries and has produced so little. In this model, you see yourself as a small, separate being, and you see God, or the universe, as a great, powerful other. From this state of perceived lack, you beg, "Please, give me healing. Please, I need abundance. Please, bring me love." Look closely at the energy of this prayer. It is a powerful affirmation of what you do not have. When you plead for healing, your entire being is vibrating with the frequency of sickness. When you beg for abundance, you are broadcasting a powerful signal of lack. You are shouting, "I am sick and I am poor," into the echoing valley of the universe. And the universe, in its perfect, impersonal love, echoes back the experience of sickness and poverty. This is why these prayers so often go unanswered. You cannot create a desired reality while being in the vibrational state of its opposite. The great mystics taught a radical alternative. Do not beg, assume, do not plead, embody. This is the quantum shift in consciousness. Creation is already finished. Every possible reality, every potential outcome, already exists as a dormant vibrational pattern in the infinite field of consciousness. The reality where you are healthy, wealthy, and loved is not something you need to build from scratch. It already exists. Your task is not to create it, but to select it. And you select it by tuning your own vibration to match its frequency. You do this by mentally and emotionally inhabiting the reality you desire, long before it has hardened into physical fact. You must live in the end. This is the practical art. First, you must know what you want, but more importantly, you must know the feeling that the fulfillment of your desire will bring you. Do you want a new job? Or do you want the feeling of security and creative expression? Do you want a relationship? Or do you want the feeling of love and companionship? The feeling is the destination. The external circumstance is just one of many possible vehicles to get you there. Get clear on the feeling. This is your target frequency. Second, you must construct a short, simple scene, a single event, which implies that your desire is already an accomplished fact. This is the crucial step. You do not visualize the process of getting it, that is struggle and uncertainty. You visualize a moment after it has happened. If you desire healing, do not visualize the medical treatment. Visualize a friend, shaking your hand and saying with joy, "I can't believe how wonderful you look." If you desire a new home, do not visualize the process of searching for it. Visualize yourself doing something simple in that home, like turning on the television or watering a plant with the absolute quiet knowing that it is yours. The scene must feel natural and must clearly imply fulfillment. Third, you enter the workshop of the subconscious mind. The most fertile time for this work is the state akin to sleep, that drowsy, relaxed state just before you drift off at night, or just as you awaken in the morning. In this state, the loud, critical, conscious mind is subdued. The gateway to the deeper, creative mind is open. Relax your body completely. Let go of the day. Become still. Fourth, and this is the art itself, you bring your scene to life. In this drowsy, receptive state, you begin to loop your short scene over and over again. But you are not a spectator watching a film. You must enter the scene. You are the one feeling the imaginary handshake. You are the one feeling the imaginary keys in your pocket. You must use all your spiritual senses to make the scene real. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? And most importantly, you must saturate this scene with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel the relief, feel the gratitude, feel the quiet joy of accomplishment. You must make this inner, imaginary world feel more real than the outer world of problems. You persist in this feeling until it becomes your dominant mood, and you drift off to sleep in the absolute conviction that it is done. You have successfully impressed your subconscious mind with a new truth about yourself. Having done this sacred work, you do something equally important. You let it go. You must have faith in the gestation period. A farmer who plants a seed does not dig it up every morning to see if it is growing. To do so would kill the seed. In the same way, once you have successfully planted your desire in the subconscious, you must not constantly check for results or worry about how it will happen. To worry is to plant a weed right next to your beautiful seed. After your session, you go about your day in a state of quiet confidence, a spiritual Sabbath, knowing that what you have done in your imagination is a fact in the higher realms of reality, and it is now moving under its own power into your physical world. You have placed your order with the universe. Now you must allow for delivery. This is the mastercraft of the architect. It is the conscious use of your divine imagination to choose your reality. It is the understanding that feeling is the secret, and that you must first become, in vibration, the thing that you wish to see in your world. This powerful, focused, creative act is how new worlds are born. But a life lived in constant, focused creation can become its own form of striving if it is not balanced by the wisdom of being. After the intensity of creation, there must be a period of rest. After the focused action of the mind, there must be the spaciousness of no mind. In between the great acts of building your reality, you must cultivate the equally great power of stillness. You must learn to honor the profound wisdom that is found in the power of the sacred pause. You have learned the master art of creation, the alchemical process of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You understand how to impress your desires upon the subconscious mind and allow the universe to orchestrate their manifestation. This is the power of focused creative action. But the wise architect knows that a building needs more than just beams and walls. It needs empty space. A life of meaning requires more than just action. It requires the profound wisdom of non-action. To balance the power of doing, you must now cultivate the even greater power of being. You must learn to master the power of the sacred pause. Our modern world is addicted to speed. It worships immediacy and glorifies the frantic pace. We have been conditioned to live in a state of constant, instantaneous reaction. An email arrives, and we feel an immediate compulsion to reply. A notification buzzes, and our attention is instantly hijacked. An uncomfortable emotion arises, and we immediately react by suppressing it, distracting ourselves, or lashing out. A thought of worry appears, and we immediately follow it down a rabbit hole of anxiety. We have been trained to live on the surface of life, bouncing from one stimulus to the next, like a stone skipping across water, never pausing long enough to experience the depth below. This life of constant reaction is a form of slavery. You are not free. You are a slave to your impulses, a slave to your conditioning, and a slave to the relentless demands of the world. You have forgotten the space between things. The great psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl wrote, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." This space is the sacred pause. It is a moment, however brief, of conscious, intentional stillness that you insert between what happens to you and how you react to it. This space has always existed, but your reactive conditioning has been so strong that you have lived your entire life leaping across it, completely unaware of its presence. The spiritual path is the practice of consciously widening that space. It is the reclamation of the territory of your own freedom. Consider the tiger, the embodiment of focused power. When a tiger stalks its prey, it does not charge forward in a blind, reactive frenzy. That would be clumsy and would waste its precious energy. Instead, upon seeing its objective, the tiger does something remarkable. It pauses. It crouches low to the ground, its body a perfect union of relaxation and readiness. Its muscles are coiled but not tense. Its senses are fully alive, taking in every sight, every sound, every scent. It becomes utterly and completely present. In this profound pause, the tiger gathers its power, contains its life force, and waits for the perfect, intuitive moment to act. Its final, explosive leap is not a reaction. It is a conscious, focused response that flows from the depths of its stillness. All of its devastating power is born from the sacred pause. We, in our frantic human lives, have forgotten this wisdom. We leak our power in 1,000 small, unconscious reactions every day. We speak when we should be silent. We act when we should be still. We decide when we should be observing. The practice of the sacred pause is the practice of becoming the tiger. It is learning to contain your energy, to gather your power, and to respond to life with wisdom and grace, rather than reacting with conditioned fear. You can begin to practice this immediately, in the small moments of your life. Before you answer the phone, let the second ring be your reminder. Take one conscious breath, pause, then answer. Before you speak in a conversation, especially a difficult one, pause. Inhabit that space instead of rushing to fill it with words. Before you send that angry email or text message, pause. Step away for 5 minutes, breathe, reread it with the eyes of the person who will receive it. This micro-pause is a revolutionary act. It is a declaration of your freedom from the tyranny of impulse. It is in this space that you can ask, is this response true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it aligned with the person I wish to be? Most of the time, you will find that the initial reactive response was not. Then there is the macro pause for the larger challenges and decisions of life. When you are faced with a major choice or a wave of intense emotion, give yourself the gift of a longer pause. Refuse to be rushed into a decision, either by the pressure of others or by the frantic urgency of your own anxious mind. Sleep on it. Take a walk in nature. Sit in silence. Give the whisper of your intuition time and space to be heard over the shouting of your fear. By honoring the pause, you are signaling to the universe that you trust a larger intelligence is at play. You are allowing wisdom to arise, rather than forcing a conclusion born from panic. This is the great difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is automatic, conditioned, and rooted in the past. It is the ego's knee-jerk defense mechanism. A response, however, is conscious, considered, and born from the presence of the now. It is the soul's choice. The sacred pause is the portal through which you travel from the enslaved world of reaction to the free world of response. It is the very birthplace of your freedom. As you master this art of pausing, you cultivate a deep well of stillness and safety within yourself. You are no longer a leaf blown about by the winds of circumstance. You are the deep, quiet oak, rooted in the earth of your own presence. You have created an inner sanctuary, a temple of peace that remains undisturbed by the storms that rage outside. From this newfound place of profound stability and inner security, you now possess the strength and the compassion to undertake the most tender journey of all. You are finally ready to gently open the door to the most vulnerable room in your soul, to visit the one who has been waiting for you for so long. You are ready to begin the sacred work of reclaiming your inner child. Within the sanctuary of your own being, in the deep stillness cultivated by the sacred pause, you have built a safe house. Your soul finally has a place to rest, a quiet center untouched by the storms of the world. From this place of profound presence and stability, you now have the courage to explore the most tender and sacred room within this house. You are ready to meet the silent and often wounded occupant who holds the keys to your greatest joy and your deepest pain. It is time to begin the holy work of reclaiming your inner child. This is not a sentimental metaphor. Within the subconscious mind of every adult lives the emotional and psychological residue of the child they once were. This inner child is the part of you that holds the wonder, the creativity, the spontaneity, and the pure joy of being alive. But it is also the part that holds the wounds. It is the part of you that felt misunderstood, unseen, unheard, or unloved. It doesn't require a catastrophic trauma to wound the inner child. The everyday experiences of growing up are often enough. Every time you were told to stop crying, you learned that your sadness was unacceptable. Every time you were shamed for a mistake, you learned that your imperfection was a flaw. Every time your boundless enthusiasm was met with adult weariness or dismissal, you learned that your joy was too much. In these small moments, a part of your authentic self was exiled into the shadow, and a core belief was formed. Certain parts of me are not lovable, and I must hide them to survive. This exiled child does not simply disappear. They run your adult life from the control room of the subconscious. The adult who is a chronic people pleaser, terrified of saying no, is being driven by the inner child who learned that their safety and worth depended on keeping everyone around them happy. The adult who is prone to fits of uncontrollable rage is often channeling the unprocessed tantrum of a toddler whose fundamental needs were not met. The adult who is paralyzed by procrastination and self-doubt is being held captive by the inner child who was once criticized so harshly for failure that they are now terrified to even try. And that vague, persistent feeling of loneliness or emptiness that can haunt even the most successful life, that is the profound loneliness of the forgotten child, waiting patiently in the inner room for you to finally come home. Let us go to them now. This is not a task for the intellect. It is a journey of the heart. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and take a few deep, calming breaths. Bring your awareness inside, into the sanctuary of your own body. In your mind's eye, picture yourself standing in a long, quiet hallway within your own heart. Now, begin to walk down this hallway. You know where you are going. You are going to their room. You arrive at a door. It may be old or new, plain or ornate. This is the door you have kept locked for so long. There is no need to force it. Knock gently, as a sign of respect. Then, slowly, open the door and step inside. Take a moment to observe the room without judgment. It may be dark and cold. It may be filled with chaotic, broken things. It might be perfectly neat and eerily empty. Whatever it is okay. Now, look for the child. They may be huddled in a corner, crying silently. They may be raging, throwing things, filled with fire. They may be sitting perfectly still, their expression blank, having learned that showing emotion is unsafe. See this child not as a problem to be fixed, but as a sacred being who has been carrying an immense burden for you for your entire life. Do not loom over them as a correcting adult. Humbly get down on their level. Sit on the floor a short distance away, giving them space. And now, you begin the sacred dialogue, not always with words, but with the energy of pure, unconditional presence. First, you listen. You can ask gently, "What are you feeling? What happened that made you so sad, so angry, so scared? I am here now. I have all the time in the world to listen." Then, be silent. Be open to whatever comes. It may be a feeling, a memory, a single word. Your job is not to analyze it, but to receive it with compassion. Next, you validate their experience. This is crucial. You say to them, in your heart, you were right to feel that way. It wasn't fair that you were treated like that. Your anger was justified. Your fear made perfect sense. I am so sorry you had to go through that all alone. You are giving them the validation they never received from the adults in their world. You are telling them that their feelings are not wrong. Finally, you give them what they have always been waiting for. You, the conscious, loving adult you have become, must now become the parent they always needed. Look into their eyes and speak the words of pure, healing love. I love you. I love you exactly as you are. I love your anger and your sadness and your fear. You do not need to be perfect to earn my love. You do not need to perform. You do not need to be quiet. You are perfect in your wholeness. And I am here now. I will never, ever abandon you again. You are safe with me. You can imagine yourself gently embracing the child, holding them in your arms, and feeling them finally relax as they absorb the truth of your unconditional love and presence. This is not a one-time visualization. This is the beginning of a lifelong, sacred relationship. You are becoming your own loving parent. As you continue to visit your inner child, to listen to them, and to reassure them of their safety and worth, a miracle begins to happen. The child begins to heal, and as they heal, their desperate subconscious control over your adult life begins to relax. The people-pleaser finds the courage to set boundaries, because the child within now knows they are loved even when they say no. The angry adult finds their rage softening into assertive passion, because the child within finally feels heard. The procrastinator finds the freedom to create, because the child within is no longer terrified of being shamed. As the wounds heal, the child's divine qualities begin to emerge into your life. A sense of wonder returns. You find yourself noticing the beauty of a flower or the shape of a cloud. A feeling of playfulness and spontaneity begins to bubble up. You laugh more easily, and most profoundly, you develop the capacity to soothe yourself, to hold yourself in love through any of life's challenges. You are no longer seeking a savior outside yourself, because the divine parent and the beloved child have been reunited within. By healing this primary relationship, by mending this foundational fracture from your past, you have liberated yourself from the heaviest chain of all. The past no longer runs you, because its primary resident has been embraced by love. This profound inner reunion makes it possible, for the first time, to fully arrive in the only moment there is. With the wonder of a healed child and the presence of a loving adult, you can now experience the world not as a threat to be managed, but as a gift to be received. You are finally ready to partake in the sacrament of the present moment. You have walked the inner corridors of your being, back through time to find and embrace the lost child within. In this sacred reunion, you have healed the primary wound that kept you tethered to the past. The stories of yesterday, which once played on a relentless loop, have softened into whispers. You are no longer haunted. You are free from the chains of what was. But the egoic mind, the master of escape, has another trick. If it cannot pull you back into the past, it will fling you forward into the future. It will entice you with the promise of a future happiness, a time when all your problems are solved and you can finally be at peace. I will be happy when I get the promotion. I can relax after the children are grown. My life will begin once I find a partner. And so, you live your life in a state of perpetual waiting, your body in the present moment, but your mind forever dwelling in a future that never arrives. This constant state of not-here-ness is the root of all anxiety. You are not stressed by your life. You are stressed by your resistance to your life, right now. It is time to awaken from this trance of time. It is time to grasp the single most vital and liberating truth of all existence. The present moment is all there is. There has never been a time when your life was not now. There will never be a time when your life is not now. The past that you either long for or regret does not exist. It is a collection of former now moments, which are gone forever, leaving only a faint memory trace in your minda, trace you are reactivating now. The future that you either crave or fear does not exist. It is a projection, a mental fantasy, a collection of potential now moments that have not yet been born. Your hopes and fears for the future are happening as thoughts in your mind, now. Your entire life is a string of pearls, and each pearl is a moment of now. You cannot live in a pearl that has been strung or one that is yet to be formed. You can only ever experience the weight, the luster, and the reality of the single pearl that is passing through your fingers at this very second. To awaken to this truth is to begin to partake in the sacrament of the present moment. A sacrament is an act through which the holy, the divine, is made manifest in the ordinary. The present moment is the ultimate sacrament, because it is the only portal through which you can experience the divine, the only point of contact with life itself. Most of humanity lives in desecration of this sacrament. They treat the present moment as a mere stepping stone to a future moment, a necessary inconvenience to be rushed through and discarded. Imagine life gives you a perfect, ripe orange. The unconscious person, the one lost in time, will tear at the peel while thinking about the emails they have to answer. They will swallow the segments whole, barely tasting them, their mind already on their next task. They will finish the orange and toss the peel aside, having received the nutrients but having completely missed the experience. Their entire life is a series of such untasted oranges. To live in the sacrament of the now is to eat the orange with reverence. You hold it in your hand and feel its weight, its cool, dimpled skin. You bring it to your nose and inhale the fresh citrus scent. You break the peel with intention, and you notice the fine mist it releases. You separate one segment, see its delicate structure, the tiny sacs of juice. You place it in your mouth, and you allow yourself to be completely consumed by the experience. The burst of flavor, sweet, tangy, alive. You are not thinking about the next segment, nor the last one. You are utterly one with the taste of this segment. In that moment of total presence, eating an orange becomes a holy act, a meditation, a direct communion with the energy of life. This is the quality of attention you can bring to any moment. When you are washing the dishes, you can be lost in thoughts of resentment about the past or anxiety about the future. Or you can partake in the sacrament of washing the dishes. You can feel the warmth of the water on your hands. You can see the iridescent beauty of the soap bubbles. You can hear the sound of the plate becoming clean. The act itself is neutral. It is the quality of your presence that transforms it from a chore into a moment of living art. You are not trying to get to the end of the washing. You are fully present with the washing itself. When you bring this level of presence to the now, something miraculous happens. The frantic, chattering mind, the ego, begins to dissolve. The ego cannot survive in the present moment. The ego is a creature of time. It lives entirely in the stories of the past, what was done to me, and the projections of the future, what I need to get. When you are fully focused on the sensation of your breath, or the taste of your food, or the feeling of the wind on your skin, there is no room for the ego's narrative. It starves for lack of attention, and in the space created by the ego's absence, you connect with a deeper dimension of yourself. You touch the timeless, formless, silent awareness that is your true nature. This is the experience the mystics call oneness with God. It is not found in a future heaven. It is found in the stillness and vibrancy of this very moment. Your lifelong search for peace, for happiness, for God is over. It was never a destination to be reached in the future. It was always a reality to be discovered in the now. The peace you seek is here, underneath the noise of your thinking. The joy you crave is here, underneath the layers of your resistance to what is. The kingdom of heaven is not a place you go to when you die. It is the state of consciousness you enter when you fully, and without reservation, arrive in the life you are living, right here, right now. When you begin to look at the world from this place of deep presence, when the filters of past conditioning and future anxiety fall away, the nature of reality itself begins to shift. The firm boundaries between you and the world begin to soften. You look at a tree, and you don't just see a tree. You feel its silent, rooted aliveness as an extension of your own. You look into the eyes of another person, And you don't just see a separate ego, you see the same one consciousness looking back at you. The illusion of separation, which is sustained by the mind's addiction to time, can no longer hold. You begin to perceive the intricate, shimmering, invisible threads that connect all things. You awaken to the magnificent, interwoven reality that is the tapestry of oneness. From the sacred stillness of the present moment, a final veil begins to lift. As you look upon the world without the distorting filters of past and future, the very structure of reality begins to shimmer and change. The illusion of separation, the most fundamental and deeply ingrained belief of the human ego, starts to dissolve. This is the belief that you are an I inside a body, a fragile island of consciousness, separate from the vast ocean of the world out there. This belief is the single source of all human fear. The fear of death is the fear of the separate self being extinguished. The feeling of loneliness is the pain of the separate self. All conflict, from a lover's quarrel to a world war, is born from the clash of separate selves defending their imaginary territory. To awaken from this illusion is to experience the ultimate truth of your being. It is to witness the magnificent, interwoven tapestry of oneness. Think of the great ocean. On its surface, there are countless millions of waves. Each wave has a distinct identity. It has a beginning as it rises from the deep, a unique form and height, a moment of peak expression, and an end as it dissolves into foam upon the shore. From the perspective of a single wave, the world is full of other, separate waves. It might compare itself to the others, feeling proud of its size or ashamed of its smallness. It might fear the larger wave chasing it from behind, or envy the graceful form of a wave further ahead. This is the perspective of the human ego, a temporary form identifying itself as separate and living in a world of comparison and fear. Now, shift your perspective to that of the ocean itself. From the vast, deep, all-encompassing view of the ocean, there are no separate waves. There is only the endless rhythmic movement of itself. The waves are not in the ocean. They are the ocean, expressing itself in a temporary, beautiful, and infinite variety of forms. The birth and death of a wave is not a true birth or death. It is simply a change in the form of the one, eternal substance. The water that made up one wave a moment ago is now part of another, and will later be part of the calm, deep stillness. The essence is never lost, because the essence is all there is. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. The form you call your body, the personality you call yourself, the life story you cherish, these are the temporary, beautiful, and unique characteristics of your particular wave. But your true nature, your deepest identity, is the water itself. It is the single, undivided ocean of consciousness that is expressing itself as you, as me, as the tree outside your window, as the distant star in the night sky. There is only one consciousness, one life force, looking out through countless pairs of eyes. Let us gently deconstruct the fortress of the separate self. Consider your body. You say my body, but is it truly yours? It is composed of atoms forged in the hearts of stars billions of years ago. It is made of the water of ancient rains and the nutrients of the soil. Every breath you take is a direct exchange with the atmosphere of the planet. Every meal you eat is a transformation of the substance of the earth into the substance of you. Your body is not a static object you own. It is a flowing, dynamic process, a temporary whirlpool in the great river of life, constantly borrowing and returning its substance to the whole. Consider your mind. You say my thoughts, but are they truly yours? As we have seen, the river of thought flows from a vast, collective source. Your language, your concepts, your opinions, they have been shaped by your culture, your family, your education. You are not the originator of most of your thoughts. You are the receiver, the space through which these collective mental patterns pass. If you are not your body, and you are not your mind, then who are you? What is left is the silent, aware presence that witnesses it all, the pure I am, before any labels are added. And this I am presence within you is the exact same presence that animates every other living being. There is only one I am in all of creation, experiencing itself subjectively through a multitude of forms. When this truth moves from being an intellectual concept to a felt reality, your entire world transforms. The great ethical teachings of all traditions, such as the Golden Rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, cease to be moral commandments to be followed out of duty. They become simple, practical statements of fact. To harm another being is not just wrong, it is nonsensical. It is the left hand trying to injure the right hand, because there is no other. The other is you, in a different costume. To love and support another is not just a virtuous act. It is the most intelligent form of self-care. It is the whole organism nurturing one of its own cells, knowing that the health of the part is the health of the whole. Compassion arises effortlessly. It is no longer based on pity, which is a feeling of a separate, superior self looking down on an inferior other. It is based on recognition. You see the suffering in another, and you recognize it as your own suffering, manifesting in a different waveform. Their joy is your joy. Their liberation is your liberation. This is the ultimate healing for the deepest wound of the human heart, the wound of loneliness. In the light of this truth, loneliness is revealed as a metaphysical impossibility. You can never be separate from the whole, just as a wave can never be separate from the ocean. You are intrinsically, eternally, and immutably woven into the grand and shimmering tapestry of oneness. Your every thought, your every action, vibrates across the entire web of existence. You are a vital, necessary, and beloved expression of the universe itself. This sublime realization, this homecoming to the heart of reality, is the peak of the spiritual journey. But it is not the end. For this cosmic understanding must not be kept as a trophy on a high philosophical shelf. It must be brought down into the valley and made real in your life. It must inform how you live, how you work, and how you love. The great question then becomes, how do you live your life as the ocean while still navigating the world as a wave? How do you honor this profound unity in your day-to-day existence? The answer is to take this infinite truth and apply it to the one finite domain that has been given to your sacred stewardship. The answer lies in tending to the garden within. We have journeyed together through the vast, intricate landscape of your own being. We have stood in the silent void and heard its echo. We have lifted the weight of yesterday and learned to breathe with the conscious rhythm of the alchemist. We have walked into the shadowed cellars of the soul and befriended the parts of ourselves we once exiled. We have seen our own faces in the mirror of others, and we have awakened to our power as the architects of reality, learning to speak to the universe in the language of feeling and assumption. We have rested in the sacred pause, healed the inner child, and finally looked upon the world through the eyes of presence, witnessing the great, shimmering tapestry of oneness. You have reached the peak of the mountain and have seen the breathtaking vista of your own divinity. And now, the true journey begins. For the purpose of this path was never to arrive at a final destination called healed or enlightened. There is no such static state. The spiritual journey is not a race to a finish line. It is the process of learning how to walk, how to live in a new way. Healing is not a place you get to, it is a practice you commit to. The ultimate secret of the scroll is this: you have been given sacred stewardship over one small, infinitely precious plot of land in the cosmos. This plot of land is your own consciousness, and you are its master gardener. All the lessons we have explored are simply tools for the tending of this garden. For years, perhaps your entire life, this garden has been left untended. Its soil was compacted and hard, littered with the large stones of past traumas and limiting beliefs. Its climate was harsh, governed by the cold winds of self-judgment and the scorching sun of anxiety. And weeds of fear, resentment, and worry grew rampant, choking out the possibility of anything beautiful growing there. the work we have done has been to prepare this sacred ground. We have patiently removed the stones. We have begun to change the climate through forgiveness and self-love. Now, the daily, joyful work of gardening begins. Each morning, you awaken and step into your garden. Your first task is to tend to the weeds. The weeds are the automatic negative thoughts that sprout from the conditioned mind. A thought of worry about the day ahead, a thought of resentment about a past comment, a thought of judgment towards yourself or another. The old way was to either let these weeds grow until they took over the entire garden, or to attack them with violence, which only seemed to spread their seeds. The way of the master gardener is different. You do not hate the weeds. You simply recognize them for what they are: invasive thoughts that steal nutrients from the soil. With the gentle tool of your mindfulness, you notice a weed as soon as it sprouts. You see the thought of worry appear, and without judgment, you gently pull it from the ground by withdrawing your attention from it and placing your focus back on your breath or on the present moment. This is a daily, sometimes moment-to-moment practice of clearing. But a garden is not defined by the absence of weeds. It is defined by the beauty of what is intentionally planted. This is your work as the architect. You consciously choose the seeds you wish to plant. You plant the seed of a loving thought about your partner. You plant the seed of a courageous thought about your work. You plant the seed of a healing thought for your body. And then you must water these seeds. The water of the garden is your emotion. You water the seed of your desired reality with the feelings of love, gratitude, and joy. You use the art of assumption to feel the feeling of the flower already being in full bloom. To think a positive thought without watering it with positive emotion is like planting a seed in a desert. Feeling is the water that brings your intentions to life. And all of this work, the weeding, the planting, the watering, is done under the holy light of the sun. The sun is your presence, your pure, non-judgmental awareness. When you bathe your garden in the sunlight of the present moment, everything thrives. The flowers grow more vibrant, and even the weeds are seen more clearly and are thus easier to remove. This is the sacrament of your daily life, the constant, loving cultivation of your inner world. In the shed of your garden, you have a collection of simple, powerful tools. Your trowel is your conscious breath, the simple tool you use to anchor yourself, to bring you back to your sacred land whenever the winds of distraction try to pull you away. Your compass is your emotion, the tool that tells you about the health of your garden. A feeling of unease is a sign that a patch of weeds is growing. A feeling of joy is a sign that your flowers are blooming. Your watering can is your practice of gratitude. To consciously find things to be thankful for, no matter how small, is to sprinkle the entire garden with the most enriching and life-giving nourishment available. And your lantern is your practice of forgiveness. It is the tool you use to go into the dark corners of the garden, to find the bitter, tangled roots of old grievances, and to gently dig them out, allowing that soil to be fertile once again. This is not a lonely or selfish task. You are not tending this garden in isolation from the world. Your state of consciousness, the energetic scent of your garden, is your ultimate gift to the tapestry of oneness. When your garden is filled with the fragrance of peace, love, and compassion, that fragrance radiates out from you and blesses everyone you meet. Your calm soothes their chaos. Your joy inspires their hope. Your love awakens their own. By creating a paradise within yourself, you become a walking sanctuary in the world. You are helping to heal the entire planet by diligently tending to your own small plot. This is your work now. It is not a chore to be completed, but a labor of love to be savored. Some days the weeding will be easy. On other days, the weeds will seem endless. Some seasons your garden will be in full, glorious bloom, and in other seasons it will lie fallow, resting and gathering strength in the quiet darkness. The master gardener does not judge the seasons. They honor them all, trusting the inherent wisdom of the cycle. This is your path, your art, and your joy. to be the conscious, loving, and patient gardener of your own beautiful soul. The great journey is complete. The final words of the ancient scroll have been read, not with the eyes, but with the soul. We have walked together through the shadowed valleys and stood upon the sunlit peaks of your own inner universe. The search is over, and now, in this quiet moment of arrival, you can finally see the profound and simple truth that was waiting for you all along. There was never a scroll of papyrus hidden in a desert cave. There was no secret map, no hidden key. The sages of the Essenes, like all mystics who have ever walked the earth, knew that the most profound scripture ever written is the human soul itself. The most sacred text is the very consciousness that is, at this moment, hearing these words. You did not come here to find a scroll. You came here to realize that you are the scroll. Your body is the sacred parchment. Your life experiences are the ink. Your heartbeat is the rhythm of its poetry. And your breath is the spirit that gives it all meaning. The path to healing was never about a journey to a distant land. It was the homecoming to the truth of what you have always been. This is not the end of a lesson. It is the beginning of a life lived from this awakened understanding. Let us, for a final time, walk together through the great museum of your own being, not as a student learning, but as a master surveying their kingdom. Let us revisit the chambers of the soul that you have so bravely explored, and see them now through the eyes of wholeness. First, let us return to the room you once called the void, the chamber of emptiness. Do you remember the fear it once held, the silent hum of absence that felt like a threat? Look at it now. It is no longer a void. It is a sanctuary. It is the great silence, the womb of all creation. It is the sacred, uncluttered space from which all possibilities are born. It is not empty. It is pregnant with potential. It is the canvas upon which your life is painted. You no longer fear this room. You seek it out. You come here now for refuge, for clarity, for peace. You can sit in its center and feel not loneliness, but a profound and intimate connection with the all. You have befriended the silence, and in doing so, you have befriended the mind of God. From there, we walk into the great gallery of yesterday. Previously, this gallery was a place of pain. The paintings on the walls were not art. They were active scenes of trauma that would pull you back into their drama. The statues were not stone. They were the heavy rocks of regret that you carried in your own bag. But look now, with the light of your presence, the scenes have been rendered into what they truly are. Memories. They are paintings on a wall. You can observe the painting of a past failure, and you can see the skill of the artist, the darkness of the colors, the emotion it depicts, but you are no longer inside the frame. You are the conscious observer walking through the gallery. You can appreciate the stories for what they taught you, for the depth and character they gave you, but you no longer identify with them. You have put down the stones. You walk through this gallery with a light step, your back straight, your hands empty and open, ready to receive the present. We move now to the alchemist's chamber, the laboratory of the breath. In the beginning, you came here to learn a technique, a way to calm the frantic mind. Now, you understand it is so much more. Your breath is not a tool you use. It is the very presence of spirit moving through you. Each inhalation is the universe pouring itself into your form, an offering of life and vitality. Each exhalation is your gift back to the universe, a release of all that is old and a surrender to the flow. Breathing is no longer an automatic function. It is a conscious, loving partnership with life itself. It is your constant anchor in the now, your ever-present ferryman, always ready to guide you across the river of thought to the serene shore of your own being. You do not need to practice breathing anymore. You have become the conscious breath itself. Next, we dare to open the door to the shadow theater. The basement that once terrified you is now an integrated part of your home. The figures you once saw as monsters, your anger, your fear, your jealousy are no longer chained in the darkness. You have brought them upstairs, into the light. They are not monsters. They were simply actors playing tragic roles because they were misunderstood and unloved. Now, you have given them new roles. Your anger has become your sacred guardian of boundaries, your passion for justice. Your fear has become your wise counselor of prudence and discernment. Your vulnerability has become your superpower of connection and empathy. You are no longer at war with yourself. You have called all the exiled parts of your kingdom home. You are not just a being of light, you are a being of wholeness, and it is in this wholeness that your true, unshakable power resides. From here, we enter the magnificent, endless hall of mirrors. Before, this was a confusing and painful place. You would see distorted reflections of yourself in others and believe the distortion was real, either in them or in you. You would smash the mirrors that angered you and cling to the ones that flattered you. Now, you walk through this hall with the grace of a dancer. You see a difficult person, a mirror that triggers you, and you no longer react. You pause, you bow to them in your heart and say, "Thank you for showing me a part of myself that still needs love. Thank you for this opportunity to heal." You see someone you admire, a mirror that reflects your highest potential, and you say, "Thank you for showing me what I am ready to become." The world is no longer a collection of others. It is a sea of your own consciousness, looking back at you, helping you to remember yourself. And this leads us to the architect's grand workshop. When you first entered this room, you felt the immense pressure of responsibility. You saw the blueprints and the tools and felt overwhelmed by the task of creation. Now, you stand in this workshop with a quiet confidence. You understand that your primary tool is not effort, but vibration. You know that your work is not to build, but to become. You have mastered the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You no longer chase after your desires with frantic, needy energy. You align with them. You embody them. You know that if you can make it real in the workshop of your imagination, the master builder of the universe will handle the construction. You have moved from being an anxious apprentice to a master creator, one who works in joyful, trusting partnership with the cosmos. Finally, we step out into the open air, into the garden of your soul. This is where you now live. This is the synthesis of all your work. You are the gardener. You feel the soil of your own being. You know its climate. You are intimate with its needs. The daily practice of tending to this garden is no longer a chore. It is your greatest joy. You gently pull the weeds of negative thought, not with anger, but with the compassionate understanding that they are simply misplaced life force. You consciously plant the seeds of your noblest intentions. You water them with the sacred waters of gratitude and joy. You allow the sun of your presence to shine upon it all. You are not striving for a perfect garden. You are in love with the process of gardening. You have found your life's work, which is the constant, loving cultivation of your own beautiful consciousness. And this is how you now live. This is the embodiment of the wisdom you have gained. You awaken in the morning, and your first conscious breath is a sacrament, a welcome to the gift of another day. You interact with your loved ones, and you see past the temporary waves of their personalities to the eternal ocean of their being, which is the same ocean as your own. You face a challenge, and you no longer resist it as an obstacle, but surrender to it as a course correction from the river of life, trusting its intelligence. You experience a moment of pure joy, and you do not cling to it in fear of it ending. You dissolve into it completely, knowing that the source of that joy is eternally within you. You have stopped seeking. You have started living. There is nothing more you need to learn. There is nothing you need to attain. You are already whole. You are already free. You are already that which you have been seeking. The journey was simply the process of you removing all the beliefs that told you otherwise. You are the silent awareness that was there before your first thought and will be there after your last. You are the infinite peace that is the source of all things. Let this be your final meditation. Let this be the truth that settles into your bones and becomes the foundation of your new world. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, and no one to become. Simply be. Be the stillness. Be the peace. Be the love that you are. I am the silence behind the noise. I am the stillness in the storm. I am the light that casts no shadow. The healer is not coming. The healer is here. Rest in this truth. Rest in your own magnificent being. Peace.